Hey, hey. Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Hi, Zero One Frequency. All right, so we're going to jump on in. Happy full moon, guys. This is a super moon as well. We're rocking 3 in a row, and so kind of an exciting time. Now there's a couple different names for this full moon, as there always are different names, most of them coming from the Native American culture, according to what I read up on in the Old Farmer's Almanac, and that's what I've always used for moon information. So this can be known as the beaver moon, because it was seen as the time when beavers had built their little dams and lodges and had kind of stored up food. Now they were going to kind of tuck in for the winter. This can also be known as the deer rutting moon, because it's a time when deer are out there looking for mates. So we kind of got the vibe of getting all snuggied in for the winter months with our special somebody. Denise at EM, hi little Mexican, great to see everyone. So that's the way this begins, and so I'll think of it in that context. Everything is kind of amplified because it's a full moon and it's a super moon. So we'll take a look at anything to release on one hand, and then I kind of look at this as, we're headed toward the end of the year. Also, this is a colder time. This is a time to maybe, like rejuvenate just a little bit and maybe rest up. At least those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's getting cold now. So obviously, hence the hoodie, right? So let's go ahead and get on in. Sorry, I'm noisily slurping. We're going to start right now with Aries, and we'll go straight on down in order. I know I don't always, but I am this time, and I'll timestamp everything at the end, but here we go. So first off, what is I want to stick with this deck. I like the feel of this one. What's the big message during this full moon for Aries? 8 of Pentacles is in the reverse, which says it is time to maybe stop going at something so hard. Stop working. I mean, this is somebody like burning the midnight oil. She's got, she's working by the moonlight, and it's like, take the day off, take the night off, rest, rejuvenate, maybe back away from something that has taken so much of a character's energy, either to give oneself a reprieve, or maybe to let somebody else step up and do a little bit more work, or maybe to allow some kind of like epiphany to come through. Sometimes if we keep grinding so hard, we can almost, because I'm literally picturing somebody who's like using a belt sander, and they're so intent that they're going to get like the perfect smooth edge on something, but they keep belt sanding a little too much on one side of a piece of wood, and then they have to even it out on the other side, and then that's a little too far, and they go back and forth until pretty soon they've actually ground away the whole chunk of wood and whatever it was that they were making. So giving oneself a breather for Aries right now. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles. Definitely it's about holding back. Now we bring in the energy of either holding back from the divine masculine while they fight their own battles, or somebody who maybe needs to consider, like, wait a second, who am I trying to be? This could be that moment of, I've been working so hard to build a name for myself, an identity for myself, but who am I? Because maybe I'm working so hard to become someone I'm not. So kind of like a wonderful time for self-reflection. Obviously, once again, we see the very full moon pictured here. So awesome energy on that. It's the, it's okay to be just who Aries is. Aries doesn't have to work so hard to become something else. Okay, what is the release message in this for Aries? The Hierophant, the 4 of Cups, and the 9 of Pentacles, 9 of discs in this deck. Finally, we're bringing in the energy of the sun, which is awesome. We got strong Taurus energy. The thing to release in this case is a belief system that somehow says, I'm never going to be enough. I'm always going to be flawed. I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to quite fill things up. The belief that either, everything's an illusion, and things are kind of miserable. The belief that we're having to try to strive for perfection. That's something to relax. There's positive and negative and subtle nuances to everything that we can think about in life. We can think about things from, I'm a flawed human, but I'm doing the best I can. Or we can say, there's no reason to try the best we can because we'll never be perfect. Or there's like this kind of seems like letting go of a sense of weird melancholy, and just being okay with Aries being who they are. Like that's what it seems like. That's the big message in this, and it kind of seems repetitious to me. Let me get a message in the context of love, because as we already spoke about, this particular full moon, super moon, it is kind of about cuddling up, getting booed up. Ooh, we got the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. If there is love somewhere out there, whether it's near or far, whether it's, there's somebody that Aries would care to connect with, but they're at a distance. I don't know if I can go visit them, or, I wouldn't be open to meeting somebody at a distance. This kind of says, why not? Why not, look at things with a fresh set of eyes. If there is somebody somewhere on this planet that matters to our Aries, or if they perchance are going to meet someone, why ever put up limitations on who we can love, where they are located, how difficult it would be to get there? Love is going to make it work. So it just kind of cracks open doorways. And likewise, if there is somebody who would want a new beginning with Aries, this says, why not? If Aries is open to it anyway, why not talk about it? Why not always go toward the thing that we actually want, the person that we want? There could be an earth sign or possibly a fire sign somewhere out there for Aries, but it's a nice energy of like allowing. All of this is about allowing, relaxing, permitting life to flow. Oh, Rachel, thank you, honey. You are so generous. Thank you so much for that beautiful donation, honey. Unique to Freak in the house. Good to see you, love. Monkey Experiment, Selena, Gianna, Tammy, Chris, RS, ALXO. Hi, Annie. Oh, I'm so glad, Annie. I'm glad you enjoyed these ones. Hi, Shirley. Denisa, always great to catch you, love. All right, so let's get on to Taurus now. Taurus is coming in at, hey, if one of you wouldn't mind, if anybody out there wants to, in the chat, timestamp, I will, of course, timestamp properly at the end, in the description box. But if anybody out there wants to volunteer to do that, if you think you're going to hang with me the whole time, I will pull a card for you at the end. In fact, let's do 3 cards since we've had 3 supermoons in a row. But if anybody would not mind doing that, I know that means that's only if you're going to hang out the whole time. And if not, that's totally fine. But I just thought it'll make it easier, because Aries started at 140, and in just a second, I'm going to start Taurus. If anybody is thinking that they're going to be hanging with me the whole time and they wouldn't mind just dropping each one into the chat, and I'll mention what the timestamp is, just so other people who join the chat can maybe find it and see it. If nobody's interested, no worries, guys. I know everybody's got other stuff going on. EM, you angel, thank you. Okay, so it's official. EM is going to be dropping the timestamp. So yeah, sweetheart, thank you so much. You're so amazing. It's okay if you just write in the chat, and I'll just go ahead and convey it. If you would just jot down Aries at 140, perfect. And then if you would jot down Taurus coming in at 808. You are so awesome. Thank you. And I'll prompt you each time, EM. You are so amazing. All right, Taurus, welcome, welcome. Taurus, happy full moon. This is the time to cuddle up. This is the time to kind of boo up like the deer do. This is that deer rutting season. But we've got the 5 of Swords and the Page of Cups for an overall message right now for Taurus. That 5 of Swords and Page of Cups says, if there is an awareness that someone's been blocking an apology, it's something to look at. Why would we ever block positive emotion? Now, if it feels insincere or something along those lines, I totally get it. But this says, consider, are we blocking beautiful energy from coming into our lives? 10 of Pentacles, because that could mean that we're also blocking tremendous benefit. Now, it doesn't have to be that the person who's going to come in and give an apology is the one that we're, going to say, okay, I accept your apology. Now let's do a relationship again, or let's be best buds again. It could be sometimes allowing someone to come in with an apology softens our energy, and it kind of lightens us up. And that could kind of symbolically open the doorway for other fantastic people, places, and situations. It's like when we start to believe in good things happening, we notice more good things. When we start to believe in, positive occurrences, or when we start to believe that, you know, people are doing the best they can, and they mess up sometimes and they hurt us sometimes, but they're trying to make it right. And it kind of lifts the way we feel about everybody as a whole. I don't know, this is very specific, but I feel like there's somebody who's like riding a you know, like public transit, like a metro or a subway or something. And, you know, if you just received an apology from somebody on your text, and, you know, you really soak it in and you go, you know what, they meant it. And, you know, people don't suck after all. And then you're in a more complacent mood and you kind of kick back and you notice there's somebody riding across from you on the subway. And for whatever reason, you're more open and less guarded. And maybe you have a conversation with that person on the subway, and maybe that person turns out to be the love of your life. It's like we have to sometimes be primed to be in a good mood, kind of like an opener at a comedy show that comes out, gets a crowd warmed up, allowing something positive in to soften. Because this definitely, in this storyline, Taurus has been in a hostile mood, probably for good reason. They've been pissed. They haven't wanted somebody to come near them. Maybe they haven't wanted anybody near them. This feels like Taurus was in a bit of a people suck vibe. And that's probably because they received some kind of ill treatment. But as they allow an apology in, I don't know why. This could be that Taurus, you know, reconnects with someone who really wants to be the other half of a relationship with Taurus. But I'll say at minimum, it, like I say, with the comedy opener, you bring out somebody to warm the crowd up. That apology warms up the crowd and it makes this next step possible. A 10 of Pentacles, something beautiful, something harmonious. And we can see big old moon is there once again. So I don't know. I just really like the allow positive energy in. Don't be, for this Taurus anyway, don't hold on to an anger or a bitterness. Okay, so that was the overview, but then I was going to ask, what is there to release? And it's kind of like almost the same thing. We've got an 8 of Cups in the reverse this time. And it's interesting because this 8 of Cups shows us a yin-yang symbol of peace after a time of this huge storm. Different deck should have given us a different message, but you notice how similar it is. Let go of the idea of someone needing to come back in. Let go of the idea, oh, signs and things, thank you. You're so angel. Thank you. Thank you. You are so generous. Thank you, sweetie. Like letting go of the idea that in order for this storm to cease, this is what must happen. It must be this checklist of things in order for me to ever consider having balance again with someone or something. This is how it has to be if it's going to return. It's just let go of that. During this full moon, release it. Let go of an idea of what would have to happen in order for me to have peace. Because then it's almost like we're saying, I'm going to be really pissed off all this time unless people, you know, go through what I believe in my mind, which they can't get in my head and know what I'm thinking I need. But unless they follow my rule book, if they miss one step that I've envisioned, then I'm going to hold on tight. I'm not going to open up unless you do X, Y, and Z. That's too controlling. And that puts too much expectation on other people understanding, like almost like a mental obstacle course. And so if our Taurus just lets go of the idea of what would it take for me to be happy again, and that could be with anything, you know, instead of setting ourselves up for blockages from peace and calm, why don't we just release it and say, I welcome peace and calm into my life. Universe, I welcome it, instead of saying this is what it has to be, or I can't be peaceful and calm. And it has to be like this, and it has to come in this way. It says, let go of the idea of how it has to be. Prince of Discs, which is that slow moving Knight of Pentacles. There's also, forget about the timeline. Forget about if our Taurus is going to release anything right now, you notice how all of this is to like lighten their load. All of this is to just allow themselves to relax. Like, I kind of love this story because it keeps looking like if our Taurus were to be able to let go of this stuff, they might have such a much easier, like, especially throughout the end of this year. It's a little more, I don't know, I'm feeling like for some reason, like a Phoebe Buffay from Friends character, you know, kind of a go with the flow, kind of like getting really delighted over random stuff that you think is really awesome. It just feels like be lighter, be more childlike, be more comfortable in life as a whole. without too many preconceived expectations. Like, be open to the surprises that show up that are positive surprises. In the context of love, during this full moon, we have the higher self. It is in the reverse. We got to get one more there, because that usually represents, for me anyway, somebody that is not attuned to their higher self. We got the 9 of Swords in the reverse. We got the Ace of Cups upright. You know, once again, here's what I'm going to say. In the context of love and romance, does somebody have to come in perfect? Do we have to evaluate everything about someone who might love us? Like, I don't know if they're really tapped in. I don't know if they're spiritually in agreement with me. I don't know if we see things in the right way. This says, screw that. Do they treat you nice? Are they looking at you like, so otters do this really cute thing where when they go night-night, they'll be in the water, but they link arms so that the currents don't, like tear them apart and take them way away from their little group of other friendly little otters. And I always think it's really sweet, because it's like, who's going to hold my hand at nighttime? Who's going to, if somebody is right there for me, not going to let me drift away, and they love me and they're showing up with a peace and calm, screw it. Whether or not they're enlightened, whether or not they're evolved, whether or not, this kind of takes away the need for any labels. It doesn't have to be a twin flame. It doesn't have to be a soulmate. It doesn't have to be a this. It doesn't have to be a that. Do they treat me nice? Do they treat me good? Do they seem like they really love me? Would they be the person who, links arms with me so I don't drift away? Then that's a pretty good match. Can I just love them and make it easier? Does everything have to be this big thought out thing? Or can it be like, this is how you treat me, so this is what I'm enjoying. This I like. I want to give that back to you. It just simplifies the context of love so much, and it makes it less of this kind of tedious, like, who's awakened, who's enlightened. It takes away a lot of that language. It gets so, I don't know, I get kind of bored with all that language. And it's just like, hey, at the end of the day, it's great to talky talk, but how about some good loving, some good action? All right, I'm going to leave that one there. Next up, Gemini is coming in at 1650. Gemini is 1650. And thank you again so much, EM. You're so awesome. All right, next up, Gemini. Here we go. Happy full moon. Good to see you, Nikki O. Hi, Selena. Shout out to you in London. Empress DC, Pia. All right, so Gemini's full moon energy. We got 10 of Swords. The overarching message is, yes, painful end, yes, problematic, yes, issues, absolutely. But it's the end of those things. Did it suck? You better believe it. But is it done sucking? Yeah, it's actually done sucking right now. We got a 4 of Wands. We got an Ace of Cups. Pretty significant timeline shift for our Geminis. If the overarching message is the universe is acknowledging, I know it hurt. I know it sucked. I know there's a really bad time. But something about the trials and tribulations for Gemini have come to an end. The trials and tribulations are about to be replaced by, here's the way I like to say it. Sometimes when we hit rock bottom, it's the best thing that could happen, because it's where we find solid ground. Finally, we're standing on something solid. And that's where we get balance. That's where we actually have something to hang on to. Now, the fall hurts, and we get bumped along the road, or, on our way down, and we might twist an ankle, but we can still stand upright, and we can say, okay, well, at least I'm not falling anymore. Now, let me look around. Let me get my bearings. Okay, I have something stable at this point. Now it only goes up from here. So something really difficult has already occurred for Gemini, but they've also found a sense of stability. And I would argue stability within themselves. This could be a Gemini specifically who became an emperor or an empress during this time, specifically more feminine energy. And I only say that because we've got 3 feminines here, but it's actually 4 of Wands. And if you put all 4 queens together, you get an empress, right? And I just feel like 1, 2, 3, and then we are referencing the 4th, which is kind of like, it's almost like if Gemini were to look in the mirror today, what they would see is, you know what? I'm balanced. Holy hell, I went through the meat grinder, but I'm standing here solid now. I'm standing here looking right at my own self, and I can feel that I'm balanced. I'm stable. That's a really good place to be in order to then be able to believe that someone else looks at us and they see the same thing that we see when we look in the mirror, which is, of course, I'm lovable. Of course, I can fathom that somebody would be really in love with me. I even think that I would say overarching message is Gemini is ready for new love. They are ready to actually allow someone to love them. They're completely able to believe that someone is in love with them or will be in love with them, and that they have a very happy future with whomever this. I love his his hair. I love it. I'm all about the big hair, and I just think that that's awesome. Maybe somebody with awesome hair, maybe somebody who makes great eye contact, somebody who's got a really sweet spirit. But the overarching message is Gemini is actually in the place where they can fathom, of course someone would love me. I'm very lovable. Of course I believe that. All right, what is there to let go of right now? 8 of Wands. For Gemini during this full moon, letting go of the need to rush. And I'm hearing that song, rush, hurry, hurry, lover, come to me. Rush. I can feel you get free with me. Is that right? I can feel you all through me. Anyway, that 8 of Wands is fast moving action. And this just says, get rid of the idea of whatever tempo life is supposed to happen on. How fast or how slow, how many dates does it take to get to know somebody? How soon is too soon? How long is too long? It says, throw away the timeline aspect of life. If you are super into something and it's clicking and it's working, why would you be like, whoa, put on the brakes because, a friend of mine says that you should always, it should be this amount of time before you can say that you've mastered something. It takes 21 days to set a new routine. We like times, right? Humans like times, which is funny because our timeline is unlike anybody else's time. Human time frame is not at all geological timeline. Human timeline, even like our aging and life process, is completely different than every other animal too. Even our gestation period is different for, becoming a born individual, right? What is it? Cats take like 3 months and then they birth their babies. Elephants take a couple years before they birth their babies. But we're so attached to this idea of time. And we've developed, devices to mark time. And then we have all of these ideas of, it takes half the amount of time that you knew somebody to get over them. And it takes, 2 years for a grieving process. And it's like, screw the whole time thing. Everybody's different. It's not too fast or too slow. It's going to be just right for Gemini if they can just let themselves do whatever it is that they want to do. Yeah, Paula Abdul, thank you so much, Rach. I'm so sorry. I couldn't think of who the singer was on that Rush song. Thank you so much, Rach. You're awesome. We got a Queen of Swords upright and we have the 10 of Swords in the reverse. I'm sorry. I said Queen of Swords and 10 of Cups, right? I hope I didn't just invert those. Forgive me. Sometimes my mouth does things that my brain didn't authorize if I said that wrong. The other thing to kind of let go of is, and now it makes more sense for our Gemini, because this is to let go of the idea of being the Queen of Swords, which, come on, that would be strong Gemini energy. But it's the Queen of Swords who's put up boundaries and has learned lessons from hurt and pain. It says, yeah, you can have learned lessons about disappointment and you can have learned, that's what wisdom is, but we don't have to walk around and continuously live in the state of, this is my lesson, this is what I have learned, this is where I am at. Hello, my name is Gemini and I have once been wounded and therefore these are my walls and these are my, this is what it will require to this step-by-step process. It's great to give people that spiel. If you're going to, let's say, an event or if you're about to get on a ride at, some amusement park and they tell you, okay, put on your little belt, keep your arms in 3 seconds, you'll experience a drop. It's fine to have a spiel that you use to introduce an audience. But in day-to-day life, we don't have to introduce ourselves with, I've created walls because of this. That is not all Gemini is. Gemini is so much more than, I was wounded once, I had a devastating loss, but I've recovered from it. That is not who Gemini is. That is a part of where their strength comes from. But instead of having to give a tip of the hat to the pain that they went through that they had to overcome, it says, forget that part and just come up with the new spiel. Who is Gemini? Gemini is this person. Gemini is the person who wears, gem tone, gorgeous satins, the person who is sexy and fun and puts flowers in their hair and dances, in the moonlight and is a fashionista and has traveled here and there and makes jewelry and, whatever it is that really defines Gemini, that is the essence of what they like, not these are the cold hard facts about what I've been through that then shaped me into the person, and these are my parameters. That is not the way to introduce oneself. Forgive me, I'm not trying to tell anybody how it is. This is just the cards that we got, and I'm being really blunt because I think it's a better way for a full moon, because a full moon's going to illuminate and a super moon's going to be really, really illuminating. So please forgive me if I sound like I'm being rude in the way I'm delivering this. I'm just trying to not put fluff in it, because a full moon demands full. Well, look at it. That thing, that picture's not hiding. It's not being delicate, right? It's like looming in on us. So now in the context of love, even though this whole thing seems to have been about love and about the way Gemini looks at themselves, which is beautiful, by the way. But in the context of love, the message for the full moon says Gemini deserves the best. Gemini, when somebody's looking at Gemini, looking up at them, looking at them from across the room, notice the people trying to catch Gemini's eye. That's somebody brave enough to look in somebody's eyes. That's them revealing something about themselves. That's it. This is all about looking for truth, looking for the soul connection. We got the tea, having the cup of tea. Speaking of, I need a little cup. This is them. Maybe, if you're going to bother to sit down and talk to anybody, make it count. Talk truth. Speak of things that you actually mean. Don't sugarcoat stuff. Isn't it Chris Rock who said when you date somebody, you're not dating them at first, you're dating their representative, the person that makes you think that they're terrific. So the things that they say are polished. They're not going to say things that are going to be offensive. They're going to be PC. And it says, don't show up PC. Show up real. Somebody who's looking right at you, make that eye contact, give them that same opportunity to see the real you, be vulnerable with each other. That's really hot. That's super sexy. Spirit of Wands is the sexiest queen there is. And this Three of Cups says it can be really fun too. This is enjoyable. This is delightful. And you'd probably get a lot more out of a real 3-minute conversation with somebody that you meet in the line waiting to get your coffee than if you spent 5 hours saying absolutely nothing other than delicately placed PC sidestepping. It gets really dull when people say a lot without saying anything. And so in the context of love, because ultimately it's probably the most important person to be real with, and like love me or hate me, but just know who I really am. That might be more of the attitude to walk into romance with. And it looks like they're going to have a lot of success. I really enjoy this one. This is an awesome one. All right. Next up, let's go into Cancerian. So Gemini was at 1650. That's when that one started. And then Taurus was at 808. Aries was at 140. And now Cancer is where we're going to go next. Whoops. I'm sorry. Hold on before I do that. All right. Cancer. Here we go. We are going to put Cancer coming in at 2817. Now, the timestamps are always a little bit off by the end of this because there's processing that has to happen, but the timestamps will be pretty close. All right, Cancerians, happy full moon, happy super moon. So I'm going to be probably pretty blunt with this because the super moon is big and it's bright. So the big overview message is Five of Swords. Overview message of Five of Swords is that energy of it's wanting to fight. It's holler and cuss and wanting to fight, like James Brown says. No, it's pissed off. I'm big mad. Even though she kind of, the placement of her shoulders, she's standing her ground, but kind of looks like, God, this sucks. It almost feels like if I don't even like doing this, I don't like being mad, I don't like what's happened. It's a little bit of like a defeat energy in the way she stands there. But then we've got this King of Cups, which is this King of Cups is a huge, huge, huge hottie with a huge cup of love, a huge emotional offer. If that is why our character our Cancerian is really bothered, it might be because what they are expecting is someone to meet them here. They really wanted something, it didn't work out, and this is the reason that it's so bothersome. This is the reason. Now it could be, bear with me, please don't hate the messenger here. These are fictional stories, but it could be that Cancerian is even somebody who has so much more courage, so much more to offer, and Cancerian is almost expecting that other people would be able to be in that same energy. And here's the thing, this Cancerian has a life story. It doesn't matter if they're masculine or feminine, but look at the scar that runs down his face. Now, frankly, I think it just makes him hotter. But look at the story that this face tells. This is somebody who has like a lot of meaning in their life. This is somebody who's been through their own traumas and they are still like, yeah, but I dealt with my crap. I'm still like somebody who can offer. So why is it that I'm not meeting people with the same energy? Why is it that I'm continuously so disappointed? And it could be that maybe Cancerian hasn't considered that they're not necessarily dealing with people that are as strong as they are. Not everybody has the same sense of strength. Not everybody has the same sense of power. Not everybody has that. Other people will not be so able or apt to manage their own pain and hurt and heal and recover and cope. And that could be really disappointing for Cancer. But if they haven't realized that for all they've been through, they still stayed kind and they still stayed loving, they could be very disappointed to discover that there's a world full of people that they meet that cannot seem to reciprocate. And with the Hierophant here, this kind of feels like, I think Cancerian is either coming to know this or they've recently come to know this, and it could still be a bit of a bitterness. The Hierophant can be energies of authority. It can be opening one's higher self. It can also be the energy of marriage. And this could be, you know what, I gave all of me to someone that I signed a contract to give all of me to, but why is it that I'm not getting the same in return? And again, it really asks Cancerian, even though it's a big ask, it asks Cancerian to see it from the higher perspective. Not to say what's wrong with them, but to say what's right with Cancerian that they've been able to give so much. Look at what Cancerian brings to the table. Look at what Cancerian's working with, and now say, okay, yeah, I am stable. Yeah, I have been through stuff, but I worked through it. I saw a counselor, a therapist. I really healed myself. I treat people with respect. I'm serious when I give my love offers. I do all that. And now say, are other people still living in some fear? Has Cancerian met other people that don't match him in that energy? And it's like, oh yeah, actually, that makes a lot more sense now. I'm expecting things of them that they frankly can't give because they're not maybe in the same healed spot that I'm in. Maybe there's a lack mentality that surrounds somebody, so they can't give me love because they need it all for themselves because they didn't get enough at some point in their life. So they're hungry. Maybe it was the same for me, but I learned how to fill my cup and I learned how to be generous. It's just a different perspective on why is Cancerian getting the short end of the stick. It might be that Cancerian is actually in a better place than, emotionally, and their sense of stability is greater than others. And that is something that I think, I don't know if I've explained it very well, but it is a great compliment to Cancer that they are in such a generous spirit and a generous space of mind. They've really made themselves into a remarkable person. So at minimum, they should be able to say, oh, you're right. Actually, I'm more whole than I gave myself credit for. I can at least feel good about me, and maybe I can look at the other situation with a bit more understanding. Doesn't mean we have to forgive them, keep giving to them, none of that, but just to understand the dynamics. Now, the thing to let go of during this full moon, we actually have a 2 of Cups. We have a 7 of Wands. We have a 3 of Swords. This feels kind of cohesive, and it feels kind of like it's connected to that first overview message. If Cancerian had been especially deeply wounded and feeling betrayed by someone who they believed was supposed to be their other half, And therefore the blockage is, I'll never have this happiness. We'll never have that moment of, the fireworks going off and everything is wonderful. Instead, I'll always be blocked from that, and I will always be in pain over this experience. Because it's like, here's the thing that I really wanted. Here's the reason I can't have it. And here's the way I will feel. It says, let go of that preconceived notion that that's what the story is going to be. People make beautiful decisions all the time. People are capable of change. They can have momentary epiphanies. They can alter something. They could step up and be an amazing partner to Cancer. But more importantly, looking at one situation and saying, this is perfect for me and I'm not allowed to have it, and it only is going to cause me grief, and my lot in life is that I am here to be punished in agony because I don't get to have the thing that was so perfect for me. This says that's not true, or it may not be true. It likely isn't true at all. And to let go of that preconceived notion or that mantra, that negative mantra, I found the perfect thing, I'm not allowed to have it, and I'm only betrayed and hurt. That would be a terrible mantra to walk around and repeat to oneself. Also, it would be, please forgive me for saying this, maybe a little bit silly, only because in the grand scheme of our lives, we live a really long time, right? We're rocking 80 to 100 plus years. That's a long time. And this world is a big place with 8 billion plus people. And to imagine that we met one person that, happened to, in this huge world, we bumped into this one person and they were the only one for us. And they happened to be the person that we worked with, and we met them through a friend. And it's like, oh my God, this is perfect. And this is the only perfect person for me. When there's 8 billion other people, and I don't even know how many trillions, or it may be an infinite number of possible scenarios where we could have met somebody else. We could have been born in a different country. We could have taken a trip somewhere. We could have gotten a different job, and maybe we would have fallen in love with somebody else. It just says to focus on the one thing that maybe isn't working and assume my destiny is to be heartbroken. It says, throw that right out the window. Throw this whole thing out the window, that there is only one. I know the Two of Cups storyline, and this is one of the reasons I have such issue with the whole twin flame energy. Well, there's a lot of reasons I don't like twin flame stuff, but one of the big ones is I think it's such a mistake to promote the falsehood. I think it's false anyway, that there's only one person out there that is right for us. The world is so full of variabilities. How could there only be one? So if you're just not lucky enough to meet the one person, you're just screwed for life. I don't like that. I don't like the elitism of it being supposedly a select group who's been chosen. I hate chosen stuff. It just bugs me. I don't believe in elitism. I don't believe that only certain people get to have a really important, really meaningful connection, or that they're on a special mission and the rest of us doofuses don't get anything special. I don't believe that at all. I really believe in equality. So I screw the whole twin flame thing in my mind. I don't like it. Sorry to mouth off about that, but this is important in this story. Now, please know this is all fiction. The mythology around twin flame is all fiction. Sorry, that's probably offensive too. Somebody will say, no, it's not. I totally support you in thinking differently. But for the purpose of this story, and for my own personal concept as a fictional storyteller, I'm going to go ahead and give it the reference point and my reasoning why. I don't like to say it too often just because it's tedious and nobody needs to know my opinions. Doesn't mean I'm right about anything. But in this one, because the message is what to let go of, I kind of had to say all that. So now it's okay to hate me. I don't mind. We all have different opinions. But yes, I have always believed that way. I never liked the twin flame thing, and that is my rationale. I believe everybody has the equal possibility to have a most meaningful and loving relationship. And I do believe that there's more than one amazing person out there for us that we could match with and that would bring out the best in us and we in them. So this storyline maybe is a crap one for people that don't like that whole topic, and that is totally okay. It's just to generate food for thought. Now, in love, there is a lie, unfortunately. We're going to turn our attention now to love topic. And we have the Seven of Swords, and we have some kind of lie, some kind of prowling through the trees, and Seven of Wands and the Eight of Swords. Way too much stuck energy when it comes to love. I don't get to pick the cards, it's however they fall out. So what I will say in the context of love for Cancerian during this full moon, the thing to consider anyway for this fictional Cancerian is, have I told myself any lies about a situation and created more blockages and made myself feel stuck? This, we're not going to rehash anything. I think I've already said enough, too much maybe, of my own mouthy opinions. And so I'll just leave it there. But I think that fits together pretty well, because there is great love to be had out there, but not if Cancerian is preventing themselves from being able to have great love. And they are so deserving of it, and they're so entitled to it. And because that first message with the Hierophant, I think if Cancerian looks at how much they have to offer, the idea that, hey, I do have a ton to offer. Let me welcome somebody into my life that wants to receive what I have to offer and wants to return it to me. That's the only critical component of what will make or break a good relationship. And I just think this Cancerian is so deserving of great love. So, all right, I'm going to leave that there. Next up, Leo, coming in at 4036. That's probably the longest Cancerian video I ever did. Leo, let's get into this and see. First off, happy full moon, you guys. Happy full moon. All right, here we go. Let's see. Hey, Morticia, right back to you. Lotta, great to see you, sweetie. It's Jenny, great to see you. All right, here we go. Leos, we've got a Knight of Swords in the reverse. Knight of Swords in the reverse for the overview message is to kind of slow things down, not move with too much impulse. Queen of Swords. Okay, so savor thoughts, savor ideas, flesh them out. Before we can decide whether or not we would want to take, let's say, let's look at it this way. Because I think this is an easy one to imagine. Sometimes when you'll see a picture of like an up close textile, say you're online shopping, trying to find some, a beautiful scarf. This happened to me. I was looking for a really pretty scarf, and I saw this up close picture, and it was gorgeous. And it was like, swirl of red and, all these other splashes of colors. And it was great. But then I had to look at it from a different perspective and click on, 5 more different pictures. And then when it was all held out, I was like, ooh, I hate that pattern. It looks terrible. The up close, a 1-inch square of one corner of the scarf was magnificent. The rest of it was like horrible, in my opinion. Not saying I have great fashion, but it sucked, in my opinion. And I would not have wanted to buy it or own it. Sometimes we got to slow down our own thought process, because we might only have a little piece of it, and it might not be a good idea, or we might have a fabulous idea and we go, I don't think it'll work. But if we never flesh out that idea, we won't know. And this says, I think Leo's got some great ideas here. I think there's something amazing, something that their ancestors trying to whisper to them. But if they ignore it, or if they go, no, I need to figure it out too quick, and I don't really see the merit in that, throw it to the side. We could throw in the bin a lot of wonderful ideas, because this says there's something fantastic. But being too swift to say yay or nay without enough information says, let's just slow it down and let's allow things to kind of present themselves to us. Denisa, thank you, love. Happy full moon to you also, Angel. Great to see you guys. Hey, Crystal Greco. All right, here we go. Give me one more on this for Leo. The 2 of Swords. Leo's got some decisions to make. And in this 2 of Swords, it says we maybe need to make a list of pros and cons. And there's going to be both. There's going to be pros and cons. How do we decide whether or not we keep a plan, whether or not we agree with something, whether or not something works? The 2 of Swords is normally about like blocked energy. What are we not seeing? In this case, any thought process, and this, I'm thinking that Leo must be very cerebral right now, and they must have some pretty big decisions to make, or they will, moving into, the next part of what's left of this year. And if maybe they consider things with great, just investment of time and consideration, it might really do well for them, especially to see that, that Queen of Swords, this is use logic, not emotionally charged decision-making processes when gathering information. then make that list of pros and cons, and then maybe say, okay, I can clearly see all the reasons this would not be a good idea, all the reasons this would be a good idea, but now what do I want to do? Maybe then bring the emotion back into it and say, but despite that, because let's put it in this context. There are things that I have blown money on. And I said, I don't need to spend this money here. It would be better investing it elsewhere. So that's a con. I really shouldn't even invest the time in doing this. I should be doing something else. So that's a con. But you know what? I know all that, but I still want to go and I want to waste the money on this because I want the experience. I can't answer why. I just need to experience this. I need to go there. I need to, go to that. Well, for me, it was it was a fairly expensive seminar that I attended. And I knew when I went, I might only get one grain of information, but I had to know. And so I went anyway. And I don't regret it, even though mostly I just spent time and money, a huge amount of time, particularly because it was a great distance I had to travel, but so worth it. Almost no value out of it, but so worth it for the mystery of what I needed to solve. Sometimes we do that, but we need to make sure we know what it's going to cost us to go, is I guess what this would say. 5 of Wands in the reverse and the World card upright. This talks about Leo. This is probably not just Leo going to a weekend seminar at something that could spend a lot of money. This is probably Leo needing to make a decision that could impact them moving forward in life. This could be, I want to make sure that what I do next is the most benefit for myself, is the direction that my life would really make the most improvement. And I would like to make sure that I'm choosing something authentic because I'm about to do something that's like a timeline shift, or this could be a big thing in our Leo's life. This could be, opening up a business idea or something. But it says not to throw away a great idea. First, fully flesh out what that idea is. What would it take to achieve it? Why do I want to do it at all? What would be the investment that it would require? How might it change my life? How might it be a detriment if it failed? And then ask myself, do I still want it? Am I feeling like I shouldn't do it? Or am I feeling like this is actually spot on? I know it's going to be hard work. I'm going to sign up for that. I'm going to do this. It's kind of exciting. This is Leo prepping for a different step forward into life. Like I have a feeling they're going to be doing something different in next year in some capacity in their life. Okay, now what is there to let go of? Strength card. This is Leo. The thing to let go of during the full moon for this fictional story is for Leo to think that they have to be the strongest, the fastest, the person in the lead all the time. They don't have to be the strongest all the time. They're allowed to ask for help. They're allowed to crumble sometimes. They're allowed to not just have a persona where I'm like, consistently, I have to do this. I have to be this every single day. Leo can have off days. Leo can have days where they go, I just hurt today. I don't know. My heart is sad. I want to be hugged today. Leo doesn't have to be a hero every day. Letting go of that idea. We have the Lovers. Hang on. We're going to put these together. We have the Moon and we have the 3 of Wands. I maybe should have read all of these together by the looks of it, because the thing to let go of here is letting go of this idea that forgive me for saying this. I feel like I'm being way too blunt today, but it's the super moon. I can't help it. If Leo has had any energy of like, I don't want to feel humiliated by a relationship that doesn't work out. I need to be the person that is then, I pick the right partner and the right partner treats me with respect, and otherwise I'm going to be humiliated. Like I'm supposed to be picking well for myself and the whole world can see me, and I have to be able to show that I've chosen well. That says throw that out the window. Really intelligent people, really quality, high functioning people wind up in crappy relationships all the time. In fact, some of the nicest, best, most intelligent people can get completely hoodwinked by someone, or they fall in love with somebody that is a karmic or something and they make the wrong choice. That is not I mean, it's not a reflection on them. It's a reflection on the set of circumstances. And anyone who's been alive long enough knows we all sometimes pick the wrong relationship. So putting too much pressure on the concept that I must be correct, I must be courageous, I must be picking the right romantic partner, that says, throw that away. But I have to always know. It says, no, probably there will be lots of times where we don't get all the information until we've been in it for a while. Throw away this idea that, well, my intuition is supposed to be spot on. Sometimes it'll get murky. That's okay too. And with this Three of Wands, we know just what our streamlined plan is for the future. It says, toss that out the window too, because there are things you won't be able to account for that will happen. I mean, Mother Nature, for example, we little humans believe that we're in control of our life, our destiny, the skyscrapers that we'll build. And then Mother Nature comes in and says, I know you built all this stuff here, but I think I'm going to come in and flood it away and fall down your skyscrapers. And, sorry, you forgot. You thought you dominate the earth. Let me remind you who really dominates. You're in my house, and Big Mama will slap us around. That just seems to be like, humans want to believe that we are super responsible for our actions, which we are to a certain extent, but there are also things beyond our control. And so to throw those things out the window, the preconceived notions that my life is supposed to be seamless, I'm supposed to always be courageous, I'm supposed to always pick the right lover, I'm supposed to understand my intuition and be able to follow it, and anything that's hidden, I'm supposed to have a plan for how the future is going to look, and I'm supposed to know it. I'm supposed to intuitively always, use my pineal gland and open it up and go the right direction. It's just not that simple. To a certain extent, it's maybe better to be leaf on a river and just flow with what comes, because you can't really decide how everything's going to go. And I think it's just a really nice energy of like, hey, I can be okay being who I am. And in the realm of love, we have the Emperor. Emperor is like welcoming in this powerful energy of love, of stability, of someone that we respect and admire, someone who treats us well, we treat them well. If that's the guiding light in the context of love during this full moon, is I want to treat somebody with a ton of respect and I'd like them to treat me the same way. That's basically just saying, I don't want to get together with anybody that I dislike or I want to remake in my image. I'm going to be looking for someone that already really like what they bring to the table, and I'm interested to hear more about what they are, who they are. Their words have value to me. That, again, takes the pressure off of needing it to be perfect, but more just saying, I like this person, I respect them. That's what's going to govern who I gravitate toward in love. 6 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. And do I expect them to be perfect? I do not. Do I expect somebody to think I'm going to be perfect? Nope. I really want to accept someone as they are, with our flaws, with our humbleness. I want to be able to say I want a partner without having to say must make me codependent. Of course, I want to complement my energy to someone else. I want someone to want to know about my story, and I want to know about theirs. I think that simplifies life pretty tremendously, but I really think that this Leo is on the cusp of meeting that. I think they're on the cusp of attracting that, because they're taking off a lot of the pressure of, or at least during this full moon, they could be taking off a lot of the pressure of how it has to be, how it needs to go. So I don't know. I like what Leo seems to be calling in for themselves. There could be a very serious relationship on the cusp for them, but I think it's going to feel really relaxed and really peaceful is what it seems like. All right, next up, let's go into Virgo here in just a minute. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hey, Dragon Fortnite. Aries is napping peacefully at the moment behind me. So my little good boy, he did his first little workout of the morning, and now he needs nappy time. Oh, EM, I'm so sorry. If in the chat, maybe it's because, okay, so EM, you're doing me such a huge favor in putting in the timestamps, and forgive me if it's blocking. It's because, and I didn't think about this, and I should have, numbers are blocked on my channel because for a long time I had these scammers that would come in and they would give people phone numbers to try to get them to call them, pretending to be me. And I totally forgot that. That's why if you guys ever put in links, it'll never show up. If you ever put in numbers, even like dates and stuff, it won't show up in the comments or the chats. It'll be held for my review because the scammers were giving links to, fake things to scam people out of money. They were giving phone numbers. So I'm so sorry, EM. I'm still going to pull a card for you at the end, by the way, my love. But I so apologize for that. I didn't even remember that. EM, you're so sweet. Thank you. You're so awesome, EM. I just adore you. Thank you, guys. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. Yeah, that's cool. Everybody think however you think about twin flamey stuff from back when I was talking about it in the Cancerian Angela Bach. That's awesome. I'm glad you found something that you believe in. That's very awesome. You're very supported in having a different opinion, and I'm glad that we all have different realities and what we've found to be true, right? So what's true for you is different than what's true for me, and that's awesome. All right, next up, we got Virgo coming in at 55:30. All right, Virgos, here we go. Happy full moon, everybody. Overarching message, Taraxia, good to see you, love. Overarching message, Virgo, is Death card. We got strong Scorpio energy here. Okay, so change. Big change during this full moon. What does that mean? Ooh, this is exciting, Virgos. What's the big change? And, we've been getting these really different messages for Virgo in the last couple days. 2 of Swords, 5 of Wands. I'm reading it as the thing that is ending for Virgo is, I'm thinking Virgo was blocking things for a while. They were possibly overthinking things for a while. Virgo might have been in a, it's hard when we're going through a big transformational phase. Like think of a growth spurt. I'm 6 feet tall, so my growth spurt was massive. And I was kind of a normal sized kid, and then I was enormous. And so it went from normal toddler. And then all I know is when I was in 4th grade, they thought I was a teacher, so it was like immediately huge kid. But I'm sure that there was a growth phase in there where I probably by leaps and bounds outgrew my clothes, in the span of months. But that transformation, you don't quite know what size you're going to end up as. I'm not saying I turned into 6 feet tall in 4th grade, but I was really tall then. And then I capped out when I was 15 and then got another 1/4 inch at 16. But that, there were phases, and I think when you're going through a transformation phase, first off, growth phases hurt, my bones. I still remember how much my growing pains hurt, couldn't sleep at night. My bones hurt while I was getting tall. But that could have been difficult for a Virgo. If they were going through an emotional, a spiritual, or just an era shift, it could have been uncomfortable. Virgo could have been feeling wobbly, I don't understand. I'm not the old me. I don't know who the new me is yet. I don't get what's going on. And it could have felt really confusing. If this is starting to make sense to Virgo during this full moon, it's oh my God, I get it now. Things didn't add up for me anymore. It's almost like Virgo maybe didn't know what they thought about certain things for a little while. Maybe they were a little confused. Maybe they had trouble making decisions on things. And it's because they were perpetually able to see 2 sides of things to such an extent because they were viewing it from their old selves and from their new selves. If this is the kind of the breakthrough energy, this was definitely scattered for Virgo, is what it says. With that Knight of Wands, this is running over here, gathering information, running back, running over here, and then coming back. I'm thinking Virgo was not super certain about where their passions were, where their intentions were. Well, they are now. This is as Virgo as you could get. This is the Virgo parade has begun. The Virgo is confident. Hi, world. This is me. I feel like Virgo just became very sage. They, after this time period in their life where they might have been, this could be a Renaissance man or woman. This Virgo could have traveled about, done all kinds of different things in their life. Could have been somebody that others, even behind Virgo's back, would have said, I never know what they're going to do next. I feel like they changed their mind, like somebody, changing shoes on vacation, right? These pair pinch, let me put on flip-flops. Uh-oh, we're going to do a lot of walking. Let me put back on my sneaks. It just feels like Virgo might have been somebody that changed quite a lot because they were gathering information. Their hermit's journey was, I got to first put all of the ingredients together and then I'll make the meal that I'm intending to make. I didn't even realize what kinds of things I was going to become attracted to or drawn to, but now that I've assembled it, now let me see what I'm working with. And wow, it all clicks. It all makes sense now. My journey, the people I've met, the people I've loved, the people I connected to, the things I was drawn to, it all makes sense why I was drawn to those things. This is the essence of who I am. I think if this Virgo looked around maybe even their house right now, they would see like kind of like the essence of what their life is in the things that they've collected. If they looked at their wardrobe, if they looked at the collection of, photographs in their phone, if they looked at, they would see themselves and the menagerie of experiences that have actually shaped them and shaped a lot of their ideas. Maybe the things that Virgo has saved in a box of mementos. Now Virgo can see it in the entirety and say, this represents my journey in life. These were the moments most important. These are the things I came to believe in. These are the things that I now know are the essence of me. That's interesting. Virgo just got to know themselves. But I really think they are understanding their own life's journey really, really well. This Virgo has been, I'm going to say, a bit of a wanderer and a student. They are somebody who has needed extra stimuli. They are someone who has wanted and needed different information. They wanted to gain wisdom in this lifetime. They wanted to have a vast array of experiences, life experiences, people, flavors, tastes. They needed to experience things, the highs and the lows. I think this Virgo is going to realize I sometimes pick stuff that was awful and I kind of picked it knowing it. And I did it on purpose just because I needed to know how bad is bad. I needed to know what it feels like to do something really hard. So I use all my energy and I sweat really hard because I needed to know the extreme of that. Kind of like, okay, let's put it this way. When somebody says, I'm going to build a business, but I need to build it from the ground up. That means I need to know what the business really consists of. I need to be in the trenches and then work my way up. That's what this Virgo has done with life. So it has not always been easy, but Virgo picked a not so easy path sometimes, and they did it on purpose. I think that's what they're realizing. Okay, what's the thing to let go of? The Emperor is sideways. Let go of the idea of mastery. Virgo is not going to master life. Virgo is simply, they've mastered themselves. They know who they are. They know what they can believe in. They maybe have faced some tough stuff. They know what really makes them big mad. They know what things almost crush them, but then they can gather their, common sense again and say, nope, I'm going to be all right. This too, I can get through. I've been through worse. This Virgo has mastered their own behaviors, so they know how they're going to react. But to have the idea that I'm going to master life and it's all going to fit into a neat and tidy package and now I'm in control. Nah, especially during this full moon, it says, throw that right out the window. There's no perfect anything where we're going to hold the reins and everything will be nice and smooth. We got a 5 of Cups. Also throw away the idea that Virgo has missed out on any opportunities, because on one hand, even though Virgo is very stable, I don't think they're ever not going to be somebody that is continuing to gather life experiences. Virgo's life is not going to be a one track, one direction, constant, linear, here I go up and up and I'm always in control just because I know myself really well. I don't think Virgo signed up for a dull life. I think that this Virgo signed up for a life that would be very interesting, not necessarily a life that would be also consistent, but it also means they haven't missed out on things. There aren't going to be things that they even miss out on at all. This Virgo is probably going to have every experience that they are hungry for, or everything that calls to them and is interesting. They'll find a way to go, touch a toe in that particular water. So throw away the idea that some opportunities have been lost. Nothing's been lost for this Virgo. This Virgo is not done with life. They got a long, long, long way to go. This Virgo has so many more travels to take, so much more to journey through. Okay, what about in love? Because this has all just kind of been about Virgo's life, I think, and now about love. Six of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. Do we finally have a win for Virgo in love life? You know, we have had terrible Virgo stories for like 3 years on my channel, and I am so sorry. But just tough love stories for Virgo always on my channel. And finally, I think we have a positive here, and not just a positive, a fabulous Six of Wands. This is pure success. This is pure, like, in the context of love, especially from this full moon and onward, it says Virgo is more admired than they have realized. This Virgo could be someone that maybe they've been oblivious to other people trying to flirt with them, and Virgo's finally going to start to notice. Like if somebody's snapping your picture and they're using a flash, you'll turn because you'll notice. I think that is, Virgo has had people basically flashing, sorry, not flashing them. That sounds completely wrong and not at all what I meant. Virgo has had people flashing smiles at them, and Virgo never noticed. They're only just now about to. I think if this Virgo hasn't dated anybody in a long time, they're like, what do you mean? Nobody's out there looking my way. Yeah, people have been all this time, but Virgo was on this journey for such a long time. It was more about them finding their own understanding of who they were. Virgo's about to get some serious action in the realm of love and romance. They may have multiple people that they're going to have to choose from, but even that's going to be enjoyable. Some will become friends, some will become lovers, but this is a real turnaround in Virgo's love life. And it's I would say it's the best chapter of their love life. I think it's the time that they're going to feel the most at ease and confident in their own skin, the most at ease and confident in, you know, trusting that people are genuinely interested in them because they're an interesting person, a beautiful person. And if that was ever an issue for Virgo, I'm so glad that's out of the way. Virgo's going to have a lot better rapport in the realm of love, but they are falling in love with somebody. With that Wheel of Fortune, this is that change. I think Virgo's about to have real love. All right, I'm going to leave that one there, you guys. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Really good to see you. All right, next up, I've got Libra. Libra is coming in at 106.53. All right, Libras, here we go. Happy full moon. Happy full moon. Let's go ahead and take a peek. This Two of Swords really wants to come out. I think this is like 3 in a row. I think it came out in Leo, Virgo, and now in Libra. Two of Swords for this full moon, and this is a super moon, Libras, and this is one of those super moons where it's kind of, or one of those full moons where it's called the beaver moon. It's also called the deer mating or rutting moon, and it's because it's the time where the beavers in nature have, kind of collected everything that they needed, the stores for the winter. They've made their little dams, they've made their little lodges, and they're like kind of snuggling in for the winter. And then this is also the time of the year where the deer would be looking for mates. It's rutting season. And so it's kind of like a time to get all booed up. But with the supermoon, it's like on super drive. So I just want to get the overview, not necessarily talk about love yet. That'll come in a minute. But the overview for Libra, did Libra have a hard time deciding between two? I mean, I know that's kind of like Libra trait, right? Trying to be so balanced that sometimes it can be hard to make a decision, not wanting to choose wrong. So then kind of like prolonging it and eventually getting into a place of indecisiveness. Because this says that there's a loss with the Five of Cups. But it's almost like, has Libra had the inability to decide which they wanted for a while, and then it kind of resulted in them not choosing anyone, not choosing anything. If that is the overview, I do believe this is Libra in their own right, in this energy. You know what? That's because Libra wasn't supposed to pick one of those options. They need something custom made. That's okay. So that's the best way I can say it. And I don't want to talk about it like it's people, even though we see people all over these cards. But let's think of this in the context of, I want to go buy, oh gosh, anything. I'm thinking about something for one's car. So I want to go buy some kind of, let's say a headliner to replace my old headliner in my car. Say I'm restoring a fancy older car. And because it's an old car that is, really valuable and I really want it to be special, I don't want it to be just gray foam headliner. I want it to be plush, like deep wine red pleather with, like button imprints on it or something. You're not going to be able to just find that. You can shop around till doomsday and you're not going to find it pre-manufactured to restore your classic car with, because what you're doing is you're restoring something that is completely, everything's going to be custom. Everything is really special. And so no wonder Libra couldn't make a decision out of the array of things that were pre-manufactured. They're not looking for a cookie cutter stamp. They're looking for something that they almost have to design themselves. They're going to need to go to the right company that allows Libra to work with the actual manufacturer. Yeah, they'll probably have to pay top dollar. But if they have a vision and nothing is fit into their vision, it's probably because it's so customized for what Libra really wants. And they have a clear vision, but they were trying to force themselves to choose something that was just, like I say, pre-manufactured, and it didn't suit Libra. Now let's say in the realm of love and relationships, let's say Libra hadn't found someone and they really had a hard time selecting someone. It might be because they actually need to manifest welcoming in someone that really matches what their vision is of what they want their life to be like, with what kind of a partner they'd really like to be with. And if that's the big message, is, you know what, you can't necessarily, or you shouldn't maybe have to force yourself to settle for things that aren't what is right for you. But it might have been like, God, why do I keep missing out? And it's like, you're not missing out. You're passing by the things that aren't right because you're busily manifesting what you do want. And manifesting can take time. Just like getting something custom made for your car that doesn't exist because you had to work with a developer to create exactly what your vision is. It takes extra time because it's going to be one of a kind. I actually really like that message for Libra. It totally takes away that kind of like subtle insult of like, oh yeah, well, Libras just can't decide. And it's like, nah, maybe they do decide, but they're actively manufacturing it in their mind's eye so they can project it and bring it into their reality. And then we also have this Queen of Cups. It really says Libra's not missing out on anything if their heart wasn't in it. Whatever they truly want, whatever it is that they want to say a confident yes. If Libra didn't marry 5 different people that they had long-term relationships with, instead of saying, I guess I don't know what's wrong with me, why can't I pick? It says maybe Libra was following their heart. Maybe Libra is much more authentic. And so they weren't going to be able to force themselves to say yes when they couldn't. My heart is the thing that is making the decisions, and my heart didn't say yes yet. Then that's, what, I really like that message for a character, being able to allow oneself to think of it the way they need to. We just got the Emperor sideways, which Virgo had this come out in the exact same position. First card out in the category of what to let go of during this super moon. So in this fictional story, we have got, let's see how this changes things. We got the 2 of Wands and we have the Death card sideways. Okay, so the thing to let go of in this, this is going to sound really like a big, like a double talk. Okay, so we've just said, hey, Libra's busy, manufacturing what they really want, a one of a kind. But this says, but let go of the idea that anything is going to be perfect. Someone who's going to be such a perfectly tailored match, because then we get into the territory of, let's not let Libra go too far to where they're basically trying to find somebody that is just like themselves. You don't want to date yourself. You want to date your complement. You don't want the identical to you. You're going to get annoying even to yourself at some point. You want somebody who stirs stuff up, brings up some new ideas. So throwing away the idea that it should be so perfectly balanced, we're mirror images of each other. Everything is about, like, I just want to be able to make choices that are going to be obviously exactly what I should do. And it says, throw away the idea that we're ever going to be able to make choices that are perfect anyway. With the Emperor being sideways and the Death card sideways, it says also the idea that there's somebody wiser who's going to be able to tell Libra, and they just have to find the right information from the right person. It says, it's going to be a crapshoot. Sometimes you can meet wise people that will tell you the crappiest advice you've ever heard. They do not understand your situation. The only person who can answer anything is probably going to be you. So it is awesome to seek wisdom. It is awesome to seek out knowledge, but seek it from a lot of different avenues, because ultimately you're responsible for your choices, and not every wise what do you call those? I'll just say wise sayings because the word escapes my brain right now. But those sayings that are like really like, wow, that's so sage, that's so truth. Yeah, but it might not be applicable. It all depends. As beautiful and as awesome as it is, like that saying, be kind, for you never know what battlefield someone else has walked upon. It's like, well, absolutely, that's true. But don't be an idiot, because sometimes people are freaking monsters, and they'll give you a sob story all day, and it'll be a big fat pack of lies, and they haven't been on a battlefield. They create a battlefield and they traumatize others, and stay away from those little monsters. So you got to be that beautiful sage advice, which is so kind and so compassionate. Yeah, but you've got to have checks and balances. You've got to also say, but stay away from the monsters. Recognize when somebody's full of shit. So the best advice still has to be taken with a grain of salt. And sometimes thinking that we've figured it all out, we probably haven't. There's going to be times where we're going to have to change our opinion, go back on what we already thought we learned, come back around to it. The Death card is here saying we never really stop changing and growing. So there won't be a moment where we arrive and we know it all and it's all perfectly packaged and it all makes perfect sense. Let's get in love. Let's get a topic for love for Libra. We have got the Temperance and we got the Four of Wands. This is nice. Maybe some strong Sag or just fire energy as a whole. This says that the time for Libra to find love is perhaps blossoming and opening up, because the more at ease and at balance and at peace they are with their own life process, the more likely it is that they're going to lean toward things that are really authentic. And maybe that's when they meet the right person for themselves. But you notice the Four of Wands is like, I'm reaching for that. But the balance begins with me. I'm the one who's balanced. And if I want a partnership, yeah, I'm ready to lean into that. I'll probably meet it right about now because I'm in a place of genuine peace. I'm not mad at myself that I haven't chosen somebody already. I feel like this is a very specific message for like a single Libra who is just now at that place in their life where they're like, I could totally see me meeting the right person now because I'm the right me to be open to that. I'm ready for that chapter. It's a great time for love. It's a great time for romance. And it's a great time to meet the person that is a real match. And I think it's just because Libra is okay with, they're okay with whatever they find. If they like it, they'll say yes. If they don't, they'll say no. And they're not going to guilt themselves and stay in situations too long that aren't right for them. Really love that. Really love that. Okay, hang on just a second, you guys. I'll be right back. I'm not going to be gone but a split second. We're going to start back up again with Scorpio. I'm not going to turn this off. We still have Scorpio, Ophiuchus, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. I know this is a long video, but I kind of wanted to do it all in one big session. Hang on just 1 second. I got to check my puppy. It's back here. Aries, you doing okay, big boy? Thought I heard you. No. Come on, big boy. You got your little wallets. Okay. Sorry, guys. I heard him scratching just gently at the back door there, and I thought he needs a little sip of water. He's so delicately asks me, Mommy, Mommy. All right, here we go. Into Scorpio, coming in at 1:19:20. All right, so Scorpios, let's get into it. This is going to be a full moon, super moon message. Here we go. What have we got? For Scorpio, the overview is Ace of Swords, the Hanged Man, and the Two of Cups. Dang, this is looking good. So the overview here is, you notice total chakra alignment, which is amazing. Ace of Swords seems like Scorpio's in a place of real truth, real clarity within themselves. They're in a place where they can see things from other people's perspective, even though they also know what's true for themselves. And I know this is a Two of Pentacles card, a Two of Cups card, but we only see one individual here. What I would say is that the Two of Cups can be the energy of choice also. And oftentimes we look at it as, that the relationship card of like, a soulmate, a twin flame energy. But with this being here, I would look at it more like Scorpio is saying, I know what I think. I can see things from other people's perspective though as well. But most importantly, I know how to choose something that genuinely complements my energy. Why? Because I do know myself, and I do know that I'm looking for complement. I'm not looking for identical. I'm looking for the thing or the person, or I'm choosing things consciously. I know why I'm choosing it. I know that I'm seeking things that will maybe help me to grow, not necessarily things that will just be agreeing with me. Not everything that perfectly agrees or fits into our life is actually necessarily for the best. Sometimes we want to choose things that are going to help us to expand and become more. That's the way I would look at that. If that's Scorpio's mindset, now I will say this could also be a time when they're going to be really, really good in relationships, because Scorpio seems to be so open, like open to, if we're really going to have a great relationship, we want somebody that we're going to allow to change our minds sometimes also. I want to learn more from someone else's viewpoint that I respect. I would like to be open to, changing perspectives if I continue to grow. At the same time though, oh gosh, what is that song? Past Lives by Sapien Dreams is in my head. I don't know. Maybe there is a past life connection in this. Either Scorpio senses that there's people that they meet that are from past lives, but I don't know. It's a real kind of like it's a simple song, but it's quite melodic. It's quite nice. Now, what are the things to let go of during this full moon? We have a Seven of Swords, and that Seven of Swords is the energy of lies, deception, running away, hiding. But on this particular card in this deck, it's actually more about cryptic information that is too hard to comprehend because we don't have the right tools to decipher it. It's the stuff that can be hidden in plain sight. So hidden in a different way. It doesn't always mean that somebody's running away or hiding things. It represents the idea that maybe there's just stuff that we don't know yet. So if this is what to let go of during the full moon, is the idea that, oh, if I don't get it, if I don't understand it, then it probably is somebody's lying to me. That might not be it. Maybe somebody has told us exactly the truth, but we go, I don't trust that person. Maybe it's because we don't understand how what they just told us could be their truth, because we haven't walked in their shoes. Maybe because we haven't been where they're at, we don't understand what they're saying, but it doesn't mean that they're lying. And that's actually pretty awesome. Also to think, oh, somebody's scared, somebody's running away, somebody's not being, upfront. No, maybe they're retreating for a valid reason. Maybe there's other reasons to people's behavior than Like we always say, oh, well, trust somebody's actions, not their words. Yeah, but there's a third component to that, which is you can see somebody's actions, but unless you understand why they just did what they did, their actions are not enough to go off of and figure out the, like if they did something nice or if they did something mean. For example, somebody that only gives to charity, only for like some other benefit that you don't know about. They may look very generous, but they may not have generosity in their heart at all. It could be because of something that comes back to them for that act. So, I mean, still, people are going to benefit. So you can still say, oh, yeah, terrific. That's wonderful. But the real motive behind it wasn't really altruistic. It was selfish, and I'm just using that as an example. I'm sorry to take something nice and then say, oh, but it's probably for a bad reason. But I use that on purpose to display like how a good behavior could be interpreted as, oh, that person's wonderful. No, maybe they're not, but they come across real nice. And it's just, we could look at it either way. Somebody that we think is rotten, somebody who's mean. And if we understood the real reason they did something, it's like, oh, no, that wasn't mean. There's a reason. Somebody who yells at a person, they seem awful. How could you yell at that person? Maybe it's because they were actually trying to catch somebody's attention and prevent them from having something terrible happen. Not all things that are loud and seemingly scary are actually for a bad reason. So all of this just says, throw away the idea that things are quite as simple as they seem. Sometimes the stuff that we think is not true or is, running away, or the interpretation that we have of somebody's actions could be mistaken because we don't understand the full context. Okay. Then we have a Prince of Cups, and we also have the Prince of Swords. So we've got a couple of knights here, both sideways. Cups and Swords. Anytime I get the sideways cards, I look at it as kind of like a flowing energy. It's neither a yes nor a no, but rather a work in progress. Our knights are always our action takers, but I'm saying what to let go of. And because we've got impulsive action, and then we've also got emotional action, it kind of says to let go of the idea that our first hit on anything is necessarily correct, but it's okay that sometimes, we got to go on something, right? We got to go with some intuition in life. Instinct, intuition, those things help guide us, but just know that we also have a big old brain, because that's important too. So somewhere in between our initial reaction, which is important to make note of, but then real fact finding and knowledge, maybe that's the key to really making good choices or evaluating things properly. But throwing away the idea that we're supposed to instantly have all the answers, or that we can purely just trust, oh, well, my intuition told me something wasn't right, I know that they're a liar. And it might be like, well, but your intuition was emotionally driven from a past memory. You did pick up on something being off about this person, but maybe you're about to misjudge them. So it just says to throw away the idea that we have all of the correct information instantly or intuitively or emotionally. But likewise, to say it's all important. All of it helps to guide us. But if we could look at it as, these are my tools that help me to figure things out, but neither one on its own is going to be perfect. It's why I have to acknowledge my gut instinct, my intuition, my heart, and my mind. And then I still have to step back and look at it one more time and say, so what does that really mean? What am I getting from all the tools that have helped me to collect the data? Now let me go back and crunch the data and maybe mull over it before I figure out what I really think about a situation. And I think that's more what the message is there. All right. And in love, we have a Two of Cups in the reverse. That's crazy, because we have the Two of Cups right there in the beginning for Scorpio. Now we have it in context of love. We have a Six of Wands, and we have the Empress. This kind of says that in love, instead of thinking that there has to be some kind of magical energy to it, consider that it's always a little bit magical. The context of love, lots of things can make us feel really 10 feet tall, and we can, feel so excited to meet somebody. And that still doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be perfect. instead of looking for either a magical reaction, or instead of thinking that, well, it's supposed to make me feel 10 feet tall, instead it says, what kind of love makes us feel really like we could see it going the distance. We could picture that I'd like to make a lot of really solid memories with this person, and they're clearly showing me that as well. It says instead of imagining that something has to be magical and movie-esque, we bring it into the realm of much more serious on the day-to-day basis. Do I see this person as somebody that is doing the day-to-day stuff to show me that they care? Because, building an empire is tough. It's not, and maintaining an empire is tough. A lot of stuff in life is not glamorous, right? We still got to scrub our toilets. We still got to, take out the trash. Could I picture doing that kind of stuff with this person? Or they're showing me that they would like to do all of that with me? Because I think there's somebody out there that does want to do that with Scorpio, but I'm thinking Scorpio's had 3 different connections in their lifespan that they can think about when it comes to romance. And I think one was maybe a false spiritual connection. And I just say that because they thought it was going to be magic and then it fell really short. And then another one might have just been like, oh my God, I almost feel like I'm their trophy, but it's really exciting. It's really heady. It's really thrilling. But does it have the staying power? And then I think you notice that we have the graduation of meaning and importance in connections. And I think Scorpio's ready for this really positive, really solid one, possibly with a Libra or a Taurus. But the time to have a genuine relationship that's super important, super valuable, that's made up of the big stuff, the little stuff, building a legacy together, dealing with boogers and every real yucky thing that goes along with real life, as well as all the sweet moments, as all of it, somebody that I can really bond with at a sincere level. That's where Scorpio's love life is going now. That is so awesome. It's so real. It's so whole. It's so, I don't know, this feels like a very graceful life, but also a very real and even like gritty, genuine relationship on the horizon. Oh, I love that. All right, Ophiuchus is coming up next, coming in at 131.28. Hi, Lotta. Moises, hi. You guys are so awesome. Thanks for being here. Don Divine, Jonathan, hey. All right, here we go. Hey, Delinda. All right, so Ophiuchus, here we go. We have got the Ace of Swords. And Ace of Swords is coming out in the reverse. Ace of Swords, for the overview for Ophiuchus, is it's not seeing something, not seeing a truth, not finding a truth. We've got a Knight of Wands. Okay, so we have rapid movement during this full moon. We've got the 2 of Pentacles, and we got the 8 of Cups. Okay, so it feels like for this full moon, Ophiuchus's overview is, I don't really want to cut something off. I kind of still want to see what's going to happen. I'm not sure if it can be balanced. So maybe I'm going to do a soft release. I'm going to do a soft walk away. It's almost like, sometimes we go, well, I'm cleaning out my closet. I don't really wear this item, but it's so pretty, but I put it on and I go, it doesn't really look good, or maybe it doesn't fit so good right now, or maybe it's a little tattered looking, but God, I can't part ways with it yet. I'm going to hang on to it because I might still find a way to wear it in the summer. It'll be some cute little thing. And once in a while, the item that we hold on to turns out to be the thing that we most wear or we most use. I think packing and going on a trip, that's the time I've found that to be particularly true. You bring a whole bunch of clothes on a trip and you think you're going to wear all the cute stuff. And instead it's like, God, this isn't even comfortable. And you revert to wearing like practically, one item the majority of your trip, and you're like, oh my gosh, I should have just packed clothes that I genuinely enjoy wearing. But sometimes we don't really know what those are going to be. Sometimes it takes a while to figure out what really works. And we're reluctant to, when I've traveled, I've left clothes behind because I'm like, well, there's no point in lugging this around anymore. I could use the space in my suitcase. Let's just leave this behind. Maybe someone else will want it. And, I came home with a lighter suitcase because there was no point in carrying stuff I wasn't even ever going to wear now that I've realized it doesn't belong in my wardrobe. it feels a little like that. Like I'm gonna hold on to something until I know to let it go, or I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I'm still kind of hoping that it will. But for the time being, let me just push it to the back, and I won't deal with it for the moment. So there is something where Ophiuchus is kind of, they are not sure about something, but they're going to let themselves keep moving on without having to have all the information right now. That's the best way I could say it during this full moon. Okay, what is the thing to let go of during this full moon? Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles being something that is, it's about personal abundance typically, but we couple it with the Queen of Swords in the reverse and the Eight of Wands upright. Okay, so definitely time for Ophiuchus to let go of any like chagrin, any self-judgment and admonishment for like, I'm supposed to be so clear on what I'm doing, and it's always supposed to be, you know, I say yes to this, or I say no to this, and I'm always moving toward abundance. Otherwise, you know, what the heck am I doing? It says to let go of that concept that it's always going to be so crystal clear. And also, to make great strides forward does not always mean that it's one foot in front of the other. Sometimes we move forward and then we move to the side and then we move back a few steps and then we go forward and we make great leaps ahead. Our path in life is not necessarily just this linear, nor even a winding thing that we can count on, like a switchback trail where it's like, well, I'm winding, but I'm always going up. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's more like a Pac-Man game. I don't know. Is that the one where, you know, I just remember, you know, sometimes you're going up and you're, you know, zigzagging, almost more like a side to side zigzag, up, down. You know, you got to go where the bites are. You got to go where the things are to chomp. You got to move with what is in front of you. And to throw away the idea that, yes, but I'm always supposed to have greater abundance. Sometimes we'll sacrifice some abundance. Sometimes we'll have those off days. Some days, the things that we get pissed off over, maybe it's a good thing. Getting pissed over something isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it tells us the truth of how we feel about something and what we don't want to do anymore. And this, the other thing to cast away is this idea that we have to know quickly so we don't waste any time. If we look at everything in life like it's, you know, I can't waste time. If we're learning, if we're growing, if we're living, if we're making decisions, how is that ever a waste of time? So I think there's been a lot of, I love all the release messages for every zodiac have been really great, because it's all about just kind of like being okay with the fact that we don't have it all figured out. We're all figuring it out one baby step at a time. So let's look at love for Ophiuchus. We got a Four of Swords. Nice. A lot of healing in love. The King of Swords. A lot of change, a lot of transformation, something very special, possibly with a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. But then we also have the Chariot in the reverse, which is Cancerian energy. This feels like in the context of love, I see Ophiuchus possibly moving on from someone that they're leaving in their rear view mirror. I feel like they're genuinely healing, and they're genuinely saying, especially if it was a love story where in Ophiuchus's mind, that person is meant to be with somebody else, or they believe that person chose somebody else. They're kind of at the point where they're like, you know what? Vaya con Dios, you know, go with God. You probably picked the path that's right for you, and it wasn't me. That's okay. Because honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to go down the path that you're going down. We weren't suited to be together. I'm actually supposed to move forward and be with somebody else. This really feels like Ophiuchus is kind of over a heartbreak at this point when it comes to love. They've really healed from something of the past. And most importantly, they've said, I learned how to let go of people that aren't for me. They're not on my path. That's a big transformation. It's a huge amount of confidence that I have now, knowing that there will be situations where, you know, it starts out great, but we're not going to be able to go the distance because we're not really on the same page. I kind of think that if you could either knew someone in a romantic connection that it started out really great, it seemed really equal and balanced, but then I don't know if they were too much of a partier or just in some completely This feels like a very mature Ophiuchus that had previously matched with a very, very immature, very like pleasure seeking only, not really looking at growing and understanding one's life or oneself, or even having any grander plans for like building a more stable relationship. And I think that's where Ophiuchus is like, I've healed from that. I get it now. I'm not really looking for someone that doesn't want more than just fun. I don't want just a good time, Charlie, because I really want to build a legacy. I got big plans for this life of mine, and I got big plans for love. And so in the context of love, I just think that Ophiuchus is really ready to meet someone that matches what they want, because they now know what it is that they're wanting. They know what kind of relationship they're actually interested in. And they're definitely not wounded over somebody from the past anymore. That I just don't see them as having been mature enough to have been with Ophiuchus. I'm freezing. I have to put, it's actually one of my sweaters, but I'm going to use it like a blanket. All right, now we'll go to Sag. Sag is coming in at 1:40:09. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, happy full moon. So let's see, what is our message? What's our overview for this full moon, the super moon? Oh, EM, you're perfect, sweetheart. Don't you worry. Uh-oh, hold on. We're going to leave these two cards out, but please forgive me. I left a couple of cards out of the deck that needed to be shuffled back in, and those came from Ophiuchus. Hang on just a second. Let me do a little proper shuffle. I'm not going to take away the two that just came out for Sag, but I do feel like I need to put those other ones back in. Otherwise, it's not a fair 78 card deck. So my apologies for the fumble. Sag, we've got a King of Cups, though, and we've got the Death card for the overview for starters. Then we had my fumble, and then we have a Queen of Swords sideways and a Four of Swords that came up. So I'm going to say that we have two distinct messages here. And one that Sag almost got cheated out of. So we'll bear that in mind as well. But at least there was a save. So, so if we're starting out with an overview of Death card is big transformation, Scorpio energy with that King of Cups. This is a very positive transformation right now at this point. So Saggy's energy or their lifespan might be taking on new dimensions, especially in the context of love, of romance, of caring. They're transforming the way they look at something. They're transforming the way their life or their world is more filled with love than it ever has been, more filled with kindness than it ever has been. That is an amazing overview. If that's the energy that Sag is in, I almost feel like Sag has a lot of support around them right now, also coming from, like, we'll say maybe divine love. But this is different. I mean, I could see this as like Sag having an overall sense of like open, like spiritual warmth and spiritual context, and just really beautiful energy. And then, like I said, I did that fumble, and then we have the Four of Swords with that Queen of Swords. And I would say, on a completely separate note, something else at play in Saggy's overall energy is there's some context of healing from some kind of sharp and like angular energy here. Not exactly mad, but definitely a little more stringent. Now, this could be someone that Sag has been like comprehending a little bit better, no longer speaking to, or there's an energy out there where they're still healing from something that they're not really ready to talk about. Sag is, it's funny how we have all this love, and then we also still have this like shard of glass that continues to kind of like just cut just a little bit. So the overview is Sag is in a really great place, but there is one subtle thing, maybe a wound that they're still trying to heal from, that they're not talking about. That could be something that can fester if Sag doesn't know that they're still harboring, like I say, a little, or like, think of how sometimes we get like a paper cut and it really stings and we didn't even know we had it, not until like lemon juice or salt touches it. And then sometimes we keep bumping it and, it doesn't get a chance to heal. This could be a bit of a surprise. Sag could be like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Like there's so much love around me. I'm in such a beautiful energy. And then all of a sudden something triggers me and I go, whoa, I had no idea that something like this still stung. Huh. I didn't maybe tell anybody, but internally, I can't believe I just reacted like that. So there's something here for Sag that I think they understand that there's a little bit of surprise that they're still healing from something that was previously tucked away under the layers of overall great energy. There's still a little trigger though. The thing to let go of during this full moon is Queen of Pentacles. Releasing, letting go of, I don't know why, if this has something to do with a plan where it was like, well, this was supposed to be my ticket to abundance. This career path was supposed to be, you can see that the pathway leads all the way to the earth. So we're off planet right now, but this was supposed to be the way it was supposed to go. I was supposed to develop this, and step by step, this was supposed to work. All of this was supposed to be perfect. How come it's not perfect? How come it didn't work? And I would just say, if they're supposed to let go of that concept that a plan was going to yield something, has to yield something, says, I don't know. That grounded energy, sometimes it's tough when we're too grounded because we don't let ourselves be visionaries. And if we were planning on something that was maybe a little bit dull but sensible, we could have been not going for all that we can achieve. I think this is hinting that our Sag maybe has a really beautiful talent. Maybe they are somebody that's got, a visionary's mindset. Look at this, Two of Swords, cutting out different patterns, or maybe not trying to be somebody who fits in with a pattern, letting go of the idea that, well, if I follow the pattern, then this is what I get. I get this perfect snowflake. I put in the work step by step, snip by snip, and then it's supposed to look like this when I'm done. This says, throw away the idea that everything is supposed to look just right if we follow every step in this very sensible manner, because maybe Saggy's life and maybe the things that they are capable of doing are different than what other people could even conceive of or achieve. Maybe Sag could be doing, I don't know, just doing things with their own flair that nobody else has thought of yet. But if they assume that I have to learn how to do it and I do it this way, and then that's supposed to yield the results, they could be putting themselves too much in a cookie cutter, like stamp routine. Like imagine, we've kind of come to expect that at coffee houses, for example, you're going to have your cappuccino, you're going to have your mocha, you're going to have, the very specific drinks that every coffee house has. But maybe Sag has a remarkable idea for a completely different kind of beverage or coffee house, something nobody's thought of before. And it says, yeah, but I need to be in the market with my competitors. Or maybe do you need to blast out of the water and offer something your competitors has never dreamed of offering? It just says, I think Sag can do a lot more. I think they have a brilliant mind. I think that they have different ideas. And I think the step-by-step pattern approach that everybody else uses, I think this Sag might have other ideas. And maybe being that visionary is going to be much more fun for them and yield better results. Next up, going into the context of love for Sag, we got the Hermit. We could have a Virgo on the horizon, but my impression is that Sag is just now coming out of their shell. You notice that we're ready to come up from the basement. We've been down there in the dark, rummaging around for a little bit, going through the storage banks in our mind. And now it looks like Sag is ready to go ahead and come on back up and come back into the realm of romance. I think this is somebody who hasn't been in a romance for some time or hasn't spoken to somebody in some time. We got that Four of Cups sideways. Definitely there's an energy of protection here. Sag was maybe protecting themselves, or the universe was protecting Sag. If Sag had other things to attend to for a while and they took themselves out of the realm of love, they weren't working on things like love for a while, or someone wasn't available to Sag for a while. I kind of think with that Eight of Pentacles in the reverse, this could be saying, that's because it wasn't Saggy's job to do the work for that person. Sag had their own set of work to do. The other person had their set. I always, when I see this, by the way, I'm sorry that my tummy is growling. I'm hungry all of a sudden. When I see like any power animal, especially tattooed like that, I always think of it as like, this could be somebody that Sag has known that works like in the military or in law enforcement or in something where they pull upon their inner power animal. I mean, this could be a tattoo artist as well, obviously, but this is a situation where I think in the context of love, during this full moon, Sag might be coming to the realization, oh my God, I think I was protected from maybe a person that I love and who loves me, but maybe they had some work to do on themselves and it wasn't my work to do. And they needed to, loyalty could have been at stake, or courage could have been at stake, or just them working through whatever was important so that their tree of life can really take deeper roots. It was not time for Sag to be in a particular romance. They were definitely protected from it for a period of time, but I think that's a big realization during this full moon is, wait a minute, I think I was protected. Yeah. And with that Eight of Swords here, nothing on earth could have moved this connection forward. It wasn't supposed to move forward. That Eight of Swords is stuck energy, but in this case, it might have been confusing. Why on earth am I stuck? Maybe Sag was stuck because they too were off doing their own internal work. It feels like we had two characters doing their shadow work without realizing that's what was going on. It's time to come back up into the light. This is the Inspiration of Cups is like the Page of Cups. This is a chance for apologies. This is a chance for new beginnings, or maybe meeting somebody new, possibly a water sign. But we definitely have an end to the dark, quiet basement, and we're coming back into the light, and we're going to the beach, which I really love. The beach, the ocean as a whole, is the world of emotions, and it's glistening and it's healed and it's positive, and new energy can come in. Apologies can actually land and be accepted, and new opportunities in love exist. Oh, that looks awesome during this full moon. I love that. All right, next up, let's go to Capricorn. Cap is coming in at 151.17. Okay, here we go. Capricorns, happy full moon. Let's go and jump on into this. What have we got? We've got the moon for the overview and the Eight of Wands. Oh my God, I just did it again. Capricorn, please forgive me. I have this really bad habit of putting cards that just came out for the previous read, and I leave them up there like a fool and forget to shuffle them back in. My apologies. Capricorn, we have to go one more time. I'm not going to take away those two that already came out, but now that we have the whole deck back together, here we go. Two of Pentacles. Okay. So for the overview during this full moon, the Eight of Wands is somebody's ready to talk about all the things that have been hidden. Somebody's subconscious has a lot to say, and it might not just be Capricorn. The kind of like balanced overall energy is this might be a really good time to convey messages that previously were like things that characters themselves couldn't access the right words for, but words seem to be flowing easier. So this could be a highly communicative time. This could be a time for Capricorn to both listen. It's important to be an active listener, but also to be able to be someone who can convey a message. But it's very much a, shoulder to shoulder, side to side. We both maybe have the same ability right now to genuinely express what's been kind of held in a subconscious or held deep down, which I think is really nice. I think it's anytime that conveying the deeper thoughts is something that characters would be willing to do and willing to hear each other out, that's the way bridges can be built, right? Anything that requires mediation, anything that requires we have to give each other the respect and the platform to actually convey what has happened to us, how we've been thinking about things, the things that we've discovered. And I just think it's beautiful energy to see that this is a wonderful time to give one another that platform. That's awesome. All right, next up, let's go ahead and take a, oh, EM, don't worry, sweetheart. You are so sweet. Don't you worry, honey. All right, so what is the message here for just the thing to let go of right now for Capricorn during this full moon. And we have the 8 of Cups came out in the reverse. I want to say Taurus had this come out in the same position. I'm going to say a very similar thing that I think I said with Taurus. I love this card because it gives us a very interesting perspective. We see this stormy sea, and then it morphs into kind of like Monet's Water Lilies, which is like the most peaceful painting ever. But in between, we've got the yin yang symbol, and it's showing us the peace and harmony and the transition. It's also seeing us is letting us see the two different extremes of, like, intensity versus calm. Being too calm, too placid, and we're gonna have algae and yucky, slimy stuff in our water. Being too ruckus and too wild of a sea, and it's, it can destroy ships and crash things. So either extreme, too docile or too wild, and stability can't exist. True stability comes with something in between, a mixture. And I just think that when we say releasing the idea that in order to find balance, we have to go out on some huge adventure, we have to go, trekking across the world, and we have to go on this deep, dark night of the soul. It says, nah, probably our character could find balance within them own selves. Within them own selves. I just turned into a 5-year-old. But they don't have to go on this huge journey someplace else to find it. Because the 8 of Cups can be walking away, going off on our own. And it says, let go of the idea of things either having to go that way or things having to come back in exactly the way we think it has to be for things to be calm and perfect. Because in fact, a homeostasis, the very word homeostasis, means constant change for permanent balance, meaning we cannot have balance without that flux. So returning things to a particular state, if we're looking for perfection, it doesn't exist. If we're looking for constant peace, that doesn't exist either. Instead, allow there to be the zest in life. Right now, I'm hearing that song in my head by The Skin of My Yellow Country Teeth. I think it's by Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah is the name of the band. And in it, he says something about, but this boy could use a little sting. It's kind of a song about like leaving home, moving into a big city, looking for something, because you're looking for, even if it's going to be a little hard, it's going to be a little edgy. He'd like a little sting. He'd like a little something that kind of wakes him up, like, ooh, okay, that was a surprise. It's kind of like getting out of that placid energy a little bit is the way I interpreted that. But that's what comes to mind. This boy could use a little sting. And we have a High Priestess. And again, even here, the thing to let go of is, you notice that we have the, very barren trees versus trees that still have plenty of leaves. Letting go of this idea that somehow our intuition is always going to be like a deep meditative, intuitive state is the best way to be. It kind of hints that instead of just trying to pick up on the subtleties in life, being a really active member of life might be a really great way also to gather information and life experience and wisdom. Being a little too reliant on, well, I'm just going to simply, use my spidey sense, use my intuition, says, but what about partaking of everything? What about jumping into the fray and really engaging and then seeing how we feel about stuff? I like the fact that it says let go of the idea that somehow that deep intuition is the only way to gain insight into our lives. It's nice to think that we're being an active participant is also going to be really, really beneficial in our lives. All right, let's talk about love for a second. In the context of love, we have got the 4 of Cups sideways and the life force energy upright. I feel like no matter what deck, we're going to kind of get similar messages. This is the difference between, man, the universe put me in timeout. It protected me. I've been very placid. I've been very, look, everything is even gray, black and white and gray. I don't even have color. All the color was kind of taken out of my life at one point in time. And now we have glorious technicolor and life force energy surging back to life. In the realm of love, I would say that the big arcing message is, I think Capricorn is going to realize during this full moon that a lot of things in their life have just been in hibernation phase, but now it's time to be active. Their love life is coming back online. Everything is like rebooting in this story. Like, I feel like Capricorn's entire life is up and running again, from passion to, laughter, enjoyment. We've got a 7 of Wands. There's something to fight for. There's something. A 7 is a divine number, and it's just how we overcome struggles. Are we a little bit nervous? Yeah, but we'll face those fears. We have the higher self really guiding Capricorn in the context of love. I think I'm going to listen to the thing that I'm hearing inside of my soul that says, I'm hungry for something. I'm hungry for emotion. I'm hungry for love. We have Spirit of Cups, which is a Queen of Cups. We have a 5 of Pentacles, and we have the present moment. I'm not saying that Capricorn is just going to go out and find some random lover, but if Capricorn is basically waking up from hibernation, when bears come back after hibernation, they're hungry. They're going to go out. The first thing they're going to do is go foraging for food, as my stomach growls. And I kind of feel like Capricorn is going to wake up and say, because I'm hearing that song, is it The Temptations, Baby, I Need Your Lovin', Got to Have All Your Lovin'. It just feels like I know what I'm hungry for. And in my present moment, the here and the now, I would like to enact, like talking to somebody. I would like to be around living, breathing, wonderful potentials. I'd like to go out on a date right now, in the here and the now. Yeah, maybe I'm looking for Mr. Right now or Mrs. Right now, but they could also become long-term relationship material. Like, I'm not looking for something that's meaningless, but I'm also not looking to overthink it and make it so that it takes, 3 years to ever meet anybody that passes all of my, stringent approval methods before I'll go out with anybody at all. I think I just want to jump back in. And I think for right now, let me get to date somebody. Let me have some laughs with somebody. Let me have a drink with somebody. Let me go ahead and enjoy what it feels like. If I'm attracted to somebody and I'm drawn to them from my higher self, let me see what that's all about. This feels exploratory when it comes to love, and it feels like Capricorn's ready to get back out there and date. Maybe they won't meet the perfect person immediately. That's okay. They're ready to kind of meet an amazing, awesome person, whether or not that person becomes their forever mate or not. It's just been a long time, I think, since Capricorn, actually enjoyed someone's company. So good for them for getting back into the world. That's a great song. Hungry Eyes. That is so perfect. All right, Aquarius, here we go. Coming in at 20152. Did I say 201? Yeah, excuse me. 20152. All right, here we go, Aquarius. Here we go. Hi, Catherine. Happy Full Moon Friday to you also, in Virginia, and Selena. Thank you guys so much for being here. Annie, yes, I do too. Love that one. Hi, Janine. Sorry, guys. I realize I'm shaking everything here. My aggressive shuffling. Aquarius, let's take a look during this full moon, and it's a super moon also, at what the overview is. We have 6 of Pentacles and we have the moon. So a nice double dose of moon vibe. The overview is, I know a 6 of Pentacles should be read as, someone who's ready to give. Like, oftentimes we'll look at it as like giving, sharing, receiving, being open to like equitable flow of energy. And usually we think about it as like money, abundance, or energies with another person. But this is, Aquarius is ready to flow their energy to and from the universe. They are very ready to tap into the celestial energies, especially with the moon being here. There's a gravitational pull going on, maybe the pull of the divine feminine happening for them, but they're very open to receiving it, to working with it, to I'm surprised we don't have like the magician, because I could almost see this as somebody really ready to manifest with the flow of the universe and say, you know what, universe, I realize you've given me certain energies. Boy, we have strong divine feminine here. You've given me certain energies that I can use to my greatest advantage. Let me use the gifts that I possess. This feels like spiritual gifts. This feels like it's a different way to manifest, especially now that we add in the high priestess. So I always think manifesting, we can either project it outward, and that's kind of like the masculine energy, and that would be magician energy. I'm thinking of what I want, I'm projecting it out there. Or we can use the gravitational pull, which is the energy of the moon, the feminine, and I can pull things toward me that I really want. This says, when we put it with that high priestess energy, which is again very divine feminine, and both of these are energies from the subconscious. I think we have an Aquarius that is really aware that what they're feeling internally, subconsciously, is their strongest way to manifest. So the subtle things that they actually really want, they need to tap into what those messages are, because they're emitting that. That's what they're really putting out. So that's probably what they're getting back. It's not the stuff that they're consciously saying, I want this. They might be getting more of the things that inside. So if they're worried inside about something, they might keep getting stuff that worries them even further. They're like, wow, I keep getting negative results, because this says what we're going to be putting out is what we're going to be getting back. We're pulling it in, but it's coming from the subconscious. Now that can be a huge boost, because if in our subconscious we say, I know what my real path is, I know what my real talent is, I know what I really want my life to look like, and I know what I am genuinely like capable of doing. I can do things nobody else can do. And that's true for all of us. We all have gifts and talents and skills that other people don't share, or we can do that thing that billions of other people do, but we know we could do it in our own unique way. And it might even be better. But if we are going to not believe in that, if we're going to be fearful about something, or only focus on the stuff that we're worried about instead of the stuff we're really good at and the stuff that we know we're really deeply excellent at, we might be getting a lot of negative results instead of those positives that we should have. So I don't see this as a negative right now. I actually think that maybe Aquarius is starting to get really positive results, but there is that gentle reminder of good. Stay on the good foot. Don't start thinking negatively. We have a King of Wands, and it is sideways. So it feels like during this full moon for Aquarius to not wobble. Don't start to question what they're passionate about. Don't start to question whether or not they're good enough. This says, don't turn it sideways and be like, I'd like this. I think I'd be good at this, but maybe I'm being too full of myself to deep down believe in myself. And it's like, no, keep believing in yourself. It's time to sing that Journey song. Don't stop, believe in. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. Took a midnight train going anywhere. It's really believe in one's own, like, I don't want to say destiny. I mean, we make our own destiny is what I always think, but we'll use the word destiny because my vocabulary fails me right now. What our character is talented at, what they're good at, what they can create, they can go full bore on this. Okay. In the context of the things to let go of during this full moon, it says the Lovers. Lovers is a card of choice. If there's too much thought about will someone pick me, it says let that go. Don't even question or bring in the worries of, but what if they don't want me? If they or it doesn't want Aquarius, then they or it isn't for Aquarius. So there's no worry. It'll be a what do you call it? Like a self-fulfilling not prophecy, but it'll be we don't have to worry about it. It'll take care of itself. It'll go on autopilot. If somebody doesn't know if they want to choose Aquarius, then Aquarius doesn't have to worry about it, because the only stuff that is going to be a part of Aquarius's world is the stuff that is able to jump on board with them. Like this train is moving in one direction, and it's the direction that Aquarius is really intuitively saying, I know what's right for me. I know the direction I'm going. I'm going to have these successes. I'm confident in myself. So let me let go of anybody that I was starting to worry. What if they don't want to ride with me? Then they don't need to be on the train, which means they're not our problem. I know that sounds really rude, but they're not our passengers. We don't need to consult with them. They've got to choose, just like we're choosing where we're headed. I say we, in this fictional story, I'm not an Aquarius, and so forgive me that I always dump myself into whatever zodiac I'm telling a story for and whatever fictional character I'm describing. But I think of it as the royal we, the whole collective of characters. We have the Hanged Man sideways, Piscean energy. The other thing is to kind of release or let go of this idea that if we can just explain it better, someone will see our way. Let go of the idea that if we just wait a little longer, someone will jump on board. It says let go of anything that would cause us delays of waiting for someone else, or maybe delays that we were giving to ourselves. Like, well, if I just wait a little bit longer, maybe then it'll work out. It says don't ever stop your own success train. You know, look, if you go to a train station and you're like, hi, my name is such and such, and I'm going to ride this train, but I don't want it to leave until 2:15 and the train is scheduled to leave at 2. That conductor is not going to hold the train because you announced that you want them to. The train moves forward. So no matter who you are, no matter who your friends are, you better be on the train at 2 if you want to go, because it ain't waiting for you to get on at 2:15. It's not like that. Same thing, like the success and the flow of positive energy. Don't stop the flow and say, but if I need to wait for somebody else or something else to ride the train with me, it says, no, you pull that train right out of the station on your timeline, and they can figure out how to catch up or, take another mode of transport if they want to jump back into your life. But don't delay for anybody else that's the thing to let go of, is the delay. Now, in the context of love, we literally have Aquarius showing up for themselves, which is awesome. Oh my gosh, Aquarius in love. It's a waterfall. And I'm hearing the song Waterfall, Nothing Can Go Wrong. It's Emmylou Harris covered it with Mark Knopfler. It's my favorite version of that song. Oh, his guitar is, it's excruciatingly beautiful. It's just really, really simple. But waterfall, nothing can go wrong. My sweet waterfall. We got the High Priestess, and we've got the embodiment of cups. Once again, sorry, my tummy keeps growling. Once again, we see the High Priestess coming in nice and loud. High Priestess is a really strong vibe for Aquarius in this, right? Because we saw it in the very beginning as well. In the context of love and romance, I feel like almost effortlessly, Aquarius's energy flow is bringing them directly to somebody that is going to be nuts about Aquarius, number one. They could be a water sign, doesn't have to be, but the energy that they're putting out is matching Aquarius's energy. And Aquarius, although an air sign, is coming across with a lot of water energy right now. Like, they're ready to give their love. They're ready to, pour out their emotions. And we have somebody here ready to not only receive it, but reciprocate it. We see the seahorses. Seahorses mate for life. I don't know if this is somebody who's recently become master of their own ship. Like, they've recently become somebody that is really empowered. This could be a masculine, doesn't have to be, but it feels like a beautiful compliment, because this is very feminine energy. This is very masculine energy. We have this beautiful fusion. And it's almost like, I think Aquarius has known for some time that when everything was aligned right for them, it's kind of saying they know what their destiny is. They've known it all along. They've known it from their deep intuition. This is probably the easiest story out of any zodiac, because all this Aquarius has had to do throughout the entire thing, no matter what segment of the storyline we were on, all they've had to do was listen to what they already know to be true for themselves. I know what my destination is. I know what my destiny is. It's a successful, balanced, loving, happy relationship, romance. It's a lifestyle of grace and ease. It's what my destiny is. All I have to do is quit blocking myself from getting there, because I already know where I'm supposed to end up. As long as I don't try to play small, I'm going to get exactly there also. That's a wonderful message for a full moon. That's so, that really opens things up. All right. And last but not least, Pisces coming in at 2/13/06. All right, you guys, here we go. Pisces. What is the overview for this full moon, the super moon, no less? A Two of Wands and the Chariot. Chariot is moving forward with tremendous success, tremendous balance. A Two of Wands says Pisces has two different options, and they'll both be equally as good and equally as successful. If Pisces wants to decide, do I do this or do that? That could be tough, only because either way they're going to have the same level of confidence, satisfaction, even maybe the best outcome. Oh, but either way requires work. Hang on. Tell me about that 2 of Wands there. 6 of Wands. This is nice. I can see why it's tough though. So Pisces is no fragile flower. Pisces is somebody that says, I am going for the things that I know I'm good at. Now, the only problem with that is I'm positive I can have success in more than one avenue of life. So let me instead boil it down and say, so what would I most want to pour my energy into? Because in my life, I'm always going to choose stuff. I don't want it to be too easy. I like wins, real wins, where I can stand up tall and say, I did that. I made that. I was skilled enough. I worked for that. Look at what I accomplished. This is a Pisces who likes to earn their way through life because it has, like, this is a Pisces who will not take shortcuts. If somebody tried to offer them, a false win, they would snub that. They don't want it. They only want the stuff because it's all about themselves, bettering themselves. This is a Pisces who like really holds themselves truly accountable. Also, they're not somebody who needs a trophy for participation. They are like, what do you mean? If I win, I really win on my own merit. If I fail because I wasn't ready to win yet. Then I know where my weaknesses are. I go back, I fix it, I come back in, and I get closer to winning the next time. Like, I'm here to really make real progress in my life. I don't need fake pats on the back. I don't need to have applause when I didn't do well yet. I like the challenge. I choose things that will better my life and make me truly confident because I intend to be really successful. So which path do I want? I could be really successful in either path. I already know that about myself. So which avenue do I want to pour my energy into? That's the only thing this Pisces has to do, is decide which avenue should they pour their energy into next. I don't think there's anything that this Pisces can't do. The devil. Okay, hold on now, because this Pisces, there is a little bit of a like warning. It is exciting to be that powerful of a person who is also going to prove themselves and who believes in themselves. That's awesome. But they don't have to sign up for the hardest road because it'll give them the most growth. Pisces is allowed to pick the path that they would most enjoy as well. It's true, everything in life will require work, and it's awesome for Pisces to be willing to pour in the work, but they shouldn't have to choose things that are intentionally hard or say, you know what, I'll take on the devil because, I'll sign up for something that is so freaking difficult just to push myself to do it. Just because I know I can handle it. They should choose things that they actually really enjoy as well. And maybe that's the one extra aspect of this. If Pisces, because I'm picturing this being a Pisces who's like, maybe within in the workplace or in a family group or a group setting, maybe Pisces is the one who is the most accomplished because they're always the person who will pick up the new skills, who's not afraid to, step up, try it, fail, figure it out, and come back in, swing in, and win. Maybe they're really somebody who's willing to do that again and again. And they realize that makes me go further in life than most. That is true. That is awesome. But they shouldn't have to say, well, then I've always got to take one for the team. They should be allowed to have what they want to. They should be allowed to pick a path that they would enjoy as well. Now, if they want to face down the devil, if they've been prepping for this, then maybe they really are ready for something really difficult. But this is like pushing back against something toxic. And this almost feels like going into battle. And I don't really know why they would do it. If there's not a reason to, like, why ever choose a battle when you could choose peace instead? Not everything, big deal. So the devil is there. Doesn't mean we got to fight him. We don't even have to acknowledge his presence. He's not impacting anything. He's not actually successfully holding anything back from Pisces or being a blockage. I don't see Pisces as being fearful. So this could be something that Pisces just ignores. Sometimes the best way to beat the devil is to ignore it. Like, don't care. You have no power over me. silly little thing, be on your way. You don't have a place here. I don't give you airtime because you're not important. So I don't need to invest and make you important. I don't know. I kind of think on this storyline, it's whatever Pisces wants to do, of course, but they have the power to do anything. But I hope that they choose things that they really enjoy and don't become somebody who's just looking for mountains to climb just to push themselves and almost end up punishing themselves their whole life to try to always be better and better and better. They should enjoy life too, is what I just think. Doesn't mean I'm right. Now the things, I'm not even joking you. I was going to say the things to let go of during the full moon. And we literally have the devil again, this time in the reverse. The full moon is a good time to release things. It's a good time to let go of things. It's a good time to surrender things. And we have the Prince of Cups and we have the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Letting go of, okay, so this is a little bit more complicated because the devil in the reverse says, oh, there's no problem, but deep down I've been big pissed, but I'm just going to move on with love in my heart. And it says to let go of that fallacy. If one of the reasons that Pisces has become such a tremendous achiever in life it's because they've been determined to become a better person than maybe what they were given or what their role model was or the way they were treated. But letting go of this idea that I'm not allowed to feel the way I feel about something. I'm not allowed to express it. I just always have to be the person full of forgiveness and be the bigger person and love somebody anyway. It actually says our character can let go of that requirement that they've placed on themselves. Not saying, oh yeah, you should be big mad, but rather always trying to find some way to like focus on the deep forgiveness for everybody else and squash one's own emotions that might be very fair to be felt. It just says Pisces is allowed to feel what they want to feel. They're allowed to call things out for what they are. They're allowed to actually say, you know what, one thing still really bothers me. Maybe I should talk to a therapist or a counselor about this. Like Pisces is allowed to still have things that they need to work through. They don't have to constantly be saying, yeah, but I overcame that. No, I don't. That's not the way I process that. I won't allow myself to do that. I won't give into that weakness of emotion. It kind of seems like to let go of the idea that you just got to move on from stuff. If something still bothers you, maybe that says that there's something to still work through. We have the Fool card. Not everything is instantly happy and we just jump beyond it and we don't let it touch our lives, because we are ultimately a product of every experience that we have, and everything shapes us, and everything, we have a right to tell our story too. Pisces has a right to, carry a wound or just to like acknowledge it and have their hurt or their pain acknowledged instead of just brushing it off, be like, oh no, it happened, but it doesn't matter. I just moved on. I mean, that's awesome that Pisces is strong enough to move forward and keep pursuing an awesome life, but their story and what happens in their life, they have a right to write that autobiography too. They have a right to go talk to a counselor or therapist when something still bothers them. That's I think the best way I would say it, to let go of this idea that I'm supposed to just instantly get over everything and always just strive for moving into the higher energies, because what happened yesterday has no place in my today or my tomorrow. To a certain extent, that's true, but not if it's almost like Pisces has to ignore an entire experience that they went through that maybe they still have every right to process if they want to. If they're happy letting it go, by all means, move on. But they shouldn't have to require themselves to do that. That's I guess what I would say. They have a right to write their autobiography as it truly is. And now when we get to love, we actually have a 3 of Pentacles combined with a 4 of Cups. I think if I were going to summarize this, I would say the entire image that I've had of this Pisces is somebody that is a hero, a warrior, a fighter, somebody who has gone through great adversity, but consistently has made themselves into a better person, into a stronger person, into a more successful person. But when it comes to love now, they deserve to have support. They deserve that. And there is this little bit of context, I think, of if Pisces is a natural protector, a natural warrior, a natural, you I know I'm really strong. I know I can handle so much because nothing has cracked me. All it's done is it's honed my belief that, we should be doing better for each other. We should be protecting each other. There's a little bit of, I don't want to call it a hero complex because now that sounds like an insult. This is an amazing person we've been describing who has an amazing vision, and they really treat each other, or they treat people really well, and they want to protect and they want to be kind. But it has to be a two-way street. So in love, this says that there are people that actually have loved and still love Pisces. This could be people or a person that would still really, really, really like to be with Pisces. But in this storyline, during this full moon anyway, for Pisces to maybe recognize that maybe some of the exes wanted to be there more for Pisces, but Pisces was too busy protecting them. The present moment is in the reverse. So this is probably reflecting on relationships from the past, because there's some real value to be had from those things. And to kind of mull it over just a little bit with that 5 of Wands being here. Consider, we keep seeing more than one lover who's maybe the Pisces has had something that played out kind of in a similar way with more than one lover in the past. And part of it has to do with they really did love Pisces, want to be something for Pisces, but I don't know that Pisces recognized what it would have been like to have that kind of support, because Pisces was too busy trying to offer protection and support to them. Maybe Pisces hid a lot of their own emotions, things that bothered them, so then Pisces didn't open up quite so much. Maybe there was always again, in the need to protect other people, sometimes we're not going to be 100% transparent and let them really get into our vulnerabilities and our hurts and pains, because no, that's not theirs to deal with. No, that's why I'm a good partner, because I don't put my stuff on them. But that might have prevented Pisces from having that deeper connection. And it was, maybe people have loved Pisces and they want to get into the dirty. Give me your dirty laundry. We have the moon in the reverse. I think in the context of love, this is Pisces getting real with themselves. I think Pisces is gonna, especially to have the moon, to have it be Pisces, to have it be during a full moon and a super moon, and it's a big old moon card, and it's revealing everything. I think Pisces might just feel kind of a nice warm glow when they go, you know what? I realized some of those exes, they really did care about me. They did. Maybe I didn't receive it as well as I could have, but from here on out, you know what? I'm ready to manifest having that kind of, I'm going to offer more of my own energies. I'm not going to keep it quite so all to myself, keep my hurts, my pains, my dirty laundry all to myself. I'm going to manifest being a little bit more open. And yes, I'm a warrior. Yes, I'm a protector. But yeah, I would welcome somebody to do all that for me as well, which means I've got to be able to receive it. That's not going to be, that's going to be a different energy. But I think Pisces is like, I am ready for that now. I am. 7 of Wands. This is hard for Pisces. Oh, this is hard for Pisces to do. Oh my gosh. It's definitely a tough one. But the sun is here. We may have a Leo on the horizon, but we got a really happy outcome in the context of love. I feel like Pisces' next relationship, whomever it is with, even if it's with somebody from the past, I feel like the next relationship is going to be really warm, really loving, really happy, and much more open. This is full transparency with the sun. Oh, that is awesome. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you, everybody, so much for hanging out with me. I will go through and timestamp these in the description box like I always do. EM, thank you so much, sweetheart. I'm going to pull you a card right now. I'm sorry that it was so difficult, EM, and that some of the timestamps, actually, the part that I don't understand is why some of the timestamps were not, because I can see the Pisces came up. I saw Ophiuchus. I saw Sag. So I don't understand what was going on. The chat has been funky. I assumed it was because most numbers are blocked, or all numbers should be blocked on my channel, just so that we don't have the scammers coming in trying to give you guys phone numbers to call. But now I'm thinking, well, that couldn't be it. So I don't know what the issue was, but Em, thank you. You were so amazing. Thank you for hanging with me for so long. I'm going to quickly recap any of these for anybody who's live right now. Aries was at 140. Taurus is at 808. Gemini is at 1650. Cancer was at 2817. Leo was at 4036. Virgo was at 5530. Libra was at 10653. Scorpio was at 11420. Ophiuchus was at 131.28. Sag was at 140.09. Capricorn was at 151.17. Aquarius was at 201.52. And Pisces was at 213.06. So I will timestamp those. And then, guys, just so you know, I will be away tonight. I'm still going to go ahead and post a video that'll come out at midnight. And I'll probably also release a general message as well. But I just wanted to make sure that we got something out special for each zodiac because this is our last supermoon. So, Em, my dear, we've got Magician. That's a nice message for the super full moon because we got the eyeball of like the universe that is kind of, it almost feels like this statue, like something has been in place for a really long time. Everything has been aligned and is now being held in perfect position. You know, like if you've ever built something and you have to like drill a hole in exactly the right place and you say, okay, I need you. Usually it's in my family, it was always my brother would call me over because I'm the sister closest in age. So I became his surrogate brother because there's only one boy in the family. So I would always have to help with the man stuff. And he would call me over. Okay, you're going to hold this. You're not going to move. And, you know, then I'm going to drill through. Don't move it. Don't move it. And he'd be shouting at me and stuff. But on one hand, I think that it's kind of perfect. Like something has been ideally lined up and it has to do with the vision, the way something looks now, what is possible, what can be created now, what can be manifested is in perfect alignment. But the vision is just now like we're able to like, I'm picturing somebody who's like, making like a chalk line on something so they know exactly where to make a long cut. It feels like that, like this is the preparation to build, to construct, but it's all in perfect alignment now. We have a 10 of Pentacles. We have a 10 of Swords. Major transformations, major endings of cycles, new culmination or beginnings of others, culminations of others. 10 of Pentacles says, this is the good stuff now. This is the time for abundance. This is the time to go. I don't know. This always looks like I see it in two different ways. If I only look at the rooftop on this, which is normally what I do first, I look at like a building that looks like it would be from like New Mexico. And then if you look at the entirety of it, you see that it's actually almost more like a tip of the hat to like a chateau, either a French chateau or maybe even like with those sharp spires. It looks a little bit like one of the fantasy fairy tales castles that you see up in some of the mountains up in Germany that are so exquisite. They're hard to believe they're real. So there's like a kind of a blend of like really elaborate, really special locations, a special abundance, maybe even that mirage or that fairy tale, only in this case, it can come true. A place to be, a location to live at, an opportunity to really gain traction and really live in a certain area is finally here. And meanwhile, this kind of jarring, I don't know, I know no shade to the whole leopard skin print, but I always kind of think that the leopard skin print furniture stuff, although it can be fun, it's such a decided pattern. And oftentimes it's paired with kind of like a cheese ball edge to it. The difference that I see in the imagery in this card, if we were just going to talk about it from like a, aesthetics, this is like groundedness, richness. And this is kind of like a little cheese ball, kind of like not necessarily well constructed, like furniture that's got a cheap print on it. And it's like, you know what? It was fun for a while, but honestly, I'm ready to move that old furniture out and I'm going for a more elegant style, something that's, like castles still exist because they were made out of really good valued materials. I'm more about the value. I'm more about the quality. I'm about the things that are going to last for a legacy, a generation after generation thing, instead of these kind of fly by night, kind of cheaper printed items that really don't last. And that's like a whole era of my life that I'm letting go of. That's what the awareness is coming through on this full moon is, oh my gosh, I have manifested the end of things that don't really have staying power. And I've manifested the beginning of this new era, the era of, I mean, here we have like a queen with a crown, but interestingly enough, her crown covers the, has like a headpiece that covers her third eye. I think this is the era of intuition. This is the era of real wealth, real stability coming in for our character. So that's the way I would say it. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you guys. Lots of love to everybody. I'm so grateful you guys stopped by. All right, I'm going to go grab a little snack. I will still release a bonus message today, and then at midnight, that other one will come out. But lots of love. Happy full moon, everybody. Let me know if you like this big, long format where we did every single zodiac and kind of took our time with it. Sometimes when I do those, I'll just do a quick one card pull. But today I was like, no, let's try to cover it properly. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And thank you again for everything, you guys. You're so awesome. Bye for now.